after thinking about it, it seemed better to have a situation where Sunagaker and Amegaker killed each other. If this was discovered by ninjas from a certain force, something interesting would definitely happen. 8 hours later. It was dawn, and Luhan had been gone for a long time. The continuous drizzle washed away many traces of battle on the battlefield. Dozens of corpses were lying all over the place, and the blood had already flowed into rivers. Call. A middle-aged man wearing a luxurious puppet master robe appeared out of thin air in the middle of the battlefield, saw Ellie's headless corpse at a glance, and dodged over there. No, a hoarse roar of sorrow resounded through the mountains and forests here. Eli Zhao had already prepared for the worst, but when he saw his son's body, he couldn't control his emotions, but he soon calmed down, full of anger and hatred. Overwhelmed by his sanity, he told himself that he must calm down and find clues to avenge his son. He started the search. He knows his son too well, a crazy evildoer. Even if he dies, he will leave endless trouble for his opponent. In a short time, the powerful Eli Zhao found what he wanted. On the big tree in the northwest of the battlefield, a metal ball the size of a fist is embedded in the tree body. This thing, which tweets, puppet detective instrument, is something newly developed by Sunagaker Village, which has always been at the forefront of technology. It has only one function. Record the picture. Okay, good. Eli Zhao grinned, and directly erased the manipulation technique that Eli had left on it, and then put on his own technique. Chapter 0488_Blood Rain Valley. The puppet reconnaissance instrument has the appearance of changing color according to the object, so when it is embedded in a tree, its eye color is the same as the tree body. In the dark night, it is difficult for people to see the abnormality. Even if they notice the difference, it is estimated that they will be mistaken. It's the bump on the tree. Luhan cleaned the battlefield before leaving, and even searched for the loot that Eli Yi said, but he couldn't find it, and Luhan didn't find the puppet detection instrument. Mainly because this thing is too concealed, and when Eli died, it automatically stopped and entered a closed state. Luhan has a pair of eyes that can see names, including people's names, animal names, building names. But many things have certain characteristics. Even if they are special things made by man, Luhan will not directly seeing the name, such as the black market trading order, or the puppet detection instrument, requires identification to see its name. However, Luhan didn't have the habit of littering his identification abilities, so naturally he couldn't find the puppet detection instrument by chance. The puppet detection instrument looks like a metal ball. Under the control of Eli Zhao, its surface quickly becomes transparent, with the texture of a crystal ball, and the picture is displayed inside. Eli Zhao watched the half-hour-long battle before and after without moving. There were only pictures and no sound. He didn't choose to fast forward because he didn't want to miss any details. The screen was finally frozen at the moment when Eli's head and body were separated. He died, and the puppet investigator lost control and had no ability to record the screen. The final freeze frame picture. Eli Yi maintains the hand seal movement, stands up straight, his head has been flying slightly, the knife maintains the action of slashing diagonally, the blood flower freezes in the air, the warrior in black standing behind Eli Yi he had a weird smile on his face. The shoe is about 1.75 meters tall, about 18 or 19 years old, with a slender body, long black hair, handsome and feminine appearance, practicing the three swords style, possessing extraordinary speed and terrifying insight, and can use low-level skills. Ninjutsu. Good. Good. Ha 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 ha. Eli Zhao said for a while and then burst into laughter. He seemed to be on the verge of madness. In his opinion, this murderer is sure to die, because the characteristics he left behind are too obvious. Not to mention other things, the black-clothed warrior's extremely handsome and feminine appearance greatly reduced the difficulty of searching for Eli's photos. The Kingdom of Rain is not small, but it is not big either. Eli Zhao can not only use the power of Sunagaker, but also the power of Amegaker village. Just give some money. Sunagaker and Amegaker are now in alliance after all. Although there will always be frictions in private for one reason or another, it will not affect the overall situation. Two forces want to integrate, there is always a running-in period. Samurai in black. You'd better leave the country of rain soon, otherwise. Eli Zhao's voice became deeper and deeper, like a whisper of a demon. 2 days later, in the central area of Rain Country, northwest of Kaifeng Grassland, Blood Rain Valley. This is a rather peculiar area in the Land of Rain. Because the rock in the valley is a yuhi-colored brittle rock, it will generate a lot of dust, and the wind will bring the yuhi-colored dust to the sky. The color dust is brought down, making the rain look yuhi-colored, hence the name of Blood Rain Valley. Sengoku era. A few decades ago, people at that time were still superstitious and regarded the rain of yuhi as ominous, so the Blood Rain Valley was regarded as an ominous place, and there was even a horror about the Blood Rain Valley. The legend, I don't know who made it up. According to the rumors released by the black market in advance, on this day, the black market opened as scheduled, and the place was in the Blood Rain Valley. It is worth mentioning that the Blood Rain Valley is very close to a megacre village, and the black market is opened here. It is really worth pondering. The pit. What a big pit. Which brain-sucking administrator decided to open a black market here? Isn't it okay to look for trouble? In the Bloody Rain Valley, in the Yuhi Cedar Forest, he has changed back to his lone ninja costume and wearing a mask. Luhan walked unhurriedly, with broken thoughts in his heart. Luhan already had the idea of giving up the mission and walking away, because the risk factor of this black market mission has already exploded. If an accident were to happen, it would be so close to a megacre village that Hanzo would be able to draw a large number of masters with a single wave of his hand. That would be dangerous. No ninja in this world can face the high-end combat power of a ninja village alone, unless Senju Hashirama or Uchiha Madara reincarnation, or practicing impure world reincarnation. In fact, Luhan's judgment of danger was not just speculation, because he had already discovered problems along the way. There are many ninjas in ambush in Blood Rain Valley. The insight map shows that they are scattered all over the valley, almost in a static state. There are hundreds of people in the preliminary judgment. The reason why it is said to be a preliminary judgment is because Luhan can only guess the identity of the other party through the still Yuhi points. And those Yuhi points that were always moving, Luhan didn't know who they were. At present, Luhan doesn't know who the strongest guy is, because the strongest guy is from the black market, guarding the entrance of the black market, and rated as a level 60 elite. Obviously, the black market managers also considered that there may be problems in opening the black market here, so even the gatekeepers have cage level strength. The power of the black market is truly unfathomable. This is inevitable, otherwise why would they host a black market business? Black Zetsu. It must be that guy from Black Zetsu. He wanted to endure a little more chaos in the world, so he opened the black market in such a place. Luhan was powerless to complain, and he stopped when he muttered. He was thinking, should he wait a day before entering the black market? Because in half a day, he will be able to enter the subversive space, and the psychic metal has unlocked a higher level of exchange. Luhan pondered for a while, then suddenly his eyes narrowed, and then he ran to the entrance of the black market. Yuhi Point on the map and stole the location of the big Yuhi Point. Black Market Super S-Class Killer, Level 60 Bronze Boss, Kakuzu. This guy, Luhan really wanted to get in touch first. Because he didn't know when Kakuzu would leave the black market, he might leave in a few hours. In order not to miss it, Luhan chose to enter the black market immediately. Chapter 0489_Luhan and Kakuzu. It's really time to come. Luhan smiled again, his thoughts flew, and he thought of a plan to get in touch with Kakuzu, and even maybe make Kakuzu a right-hand man to help him get out of this dangerous place. The key to this plan is naturally Hanzo, who has just entered the black market. Luhan didn't care about cooperating with an enemy like Kakuzu. After all, the only conflict between the two was that Kakuzu wanted to kill Daimyo, while Luhan was a Konoha ninja. In Luhan's opinion, Kakuzu's strength was impossible to successfully assassinate Daimyo. Because the ninja who is currently protecting the Daimyo is called Hyuga Heiyong. The show is about to begin. Lu Han muttered. After getting the information, Kakuzu left the S-Class Mission Junction area for the first time, found an unmanned corner in the central cave, and looked down at the information seriously. The actual value of the information is more than 1 million taels. Of course not a few, it's just a word or a few pieces of information. It's written in great detail, and everyone has to read it for a while. After Kakuzu entered the central cave, Lu Han also appeared in the cave and continued to pretend to look at the goods of the black market merchants. Lu Han didn't wait too long, and after a while, a gloomy voice sounded from behind Lu Han. How dare you sell information to others? Lu Han got up and looked back. He saw Hanzo's eyes were gloomy, and beside him was the official black market official named 29. 29 saw that the two had been connected, so he turned and left without saying a word. Trapped, the first time Hanzo came to the black market was an inquiry task, and then he found information about someone buying a daimyo, and then he guessed that this person must be the Konoha ninja who knew Rashomon. The second code name is Black Kiba. You don't even change your clothes. Lu Han glanced up and down Hanzo a lot. This guy is still dressed as last time. Since he entered the black market, everyone knows his identity. The former king of the black market, Jianyu-style ghost. It looks like Hanzo really doesn't care. He really doesn't need to care. It's very close to a megacre village. It's his home court. His personal strength is strong enough to break through the sky, so there's nothing to fear. Answer my question. Hanzo's voice deepened. I have to find a way to get in touch with you. Who knew you wouldn't change your clothes? You've also seen that the price of the information I sold was only 1 million taels. In fact, it was just incomplete information, and the timeliness was very short. Besides, why can't I sell the information to others? You didn't give me money to keep it secret. Lu Han's words left Hanzo speechless. Indeed, according to the rules of the black market, Hanzo cannot restrict Lu Han from selling information to anyone, unless he gives Lu Han a hush money under the witness of the black market. In fact, Hanzo is not really angry, just angry, annoyed that this bastard actually gave the information to others first. Hanzo is not worried about anything. He is the most powerful killer in the black market, he was and is now. Well, since you said that, you'd better give me more comprehensive information, otherwise. Don't worry, the weight of this information must be at least 10 million, I am a fool to sell it for 1 million. Find a place with no one. After the Jianyu-style ghost returned to the cave, many black market killers noticed him, including Kakuzu. He saw the Jianyu-style ghost, and Black Kiba, whispering something, and then walked to a distant location. In the dark corner, the Jianyu-style ghost uses futon, wind-style chakra to form a barrier to isolate the two from the outside world. Damn, he also took on the task of assassinating daimyo. Kakuzu's face was ugly. He rarely shows such an expression, and this time, the other party is too important. Have been as many as 5 black market super S-class killers who have taken on the task of assassinating daimyo, and Kakuzu has always been the winner. He was able to escape from the first generation of Hokage back then. Among the black market killers who took on the task of assassinating the daimyo, even if there were those who were stronger than themselves, their strength was limited, and the assassination ability of the other party was definitely not as good as his own. As a result, Jianyu-style ghost also accepted this task. Style ghost has the strength to crush other super S-class killers. In the space formed by futon, wind-style chakra, Lu Han and Hanzo are fighting against each other. This is extremely dangerous. Being so close to Hanzo, he is still enveloped by the opponent's art. But Hanzo will definitely not dare to do it here, because this is the black market. Here, as we said last time, you don't have to give me money. Lu Han threw the scroll to Hanzo. Hanzo opened the scroll and looked at it quickly. Gradually, his eyes became cold. This information made him dissatisfied. There was too much information with short timeliness, and some of the content was already discovered by Hanzo through other means. That's all? Hanzo asked, looking up. Of course. More than that, Lu Han said in a long voice, this information is the one I want to sell for 1 million taels. I'll show you this first, just to prove that I didn't lie. Words. What about other information? Hanzo asked coldly. It's all in my head, and I'll dictate it to you. Speak. First of all, Hokage attaches great importance to the life and death of the daimyo. He has planned to send more people to protect the daimyo, and even plans to connect the daimyo to Konoha village to protect it. Secondly, Hyuga Haeyoung, the head of the Hyuga clan, will protect the daimyo most of the time. Third, Konoha Anbu may be involved in the task of protecting the daimyo. Fourth, Konoha Anbu Captain Han Guang may go to protect the daimyo in a month. Quote. Hanzo was stunned for a moment, and immediately asked again, Han Guang. How did you know that Han Guang would protect the daimyo in a month? Can you know what happened in a month? Of course I have reasons for saying this, but do you think you should pay? Han Guang is another target you want to assassinate. Lu Han's voice contained a treacherous smile. To be too greedy is not a good thing. Hanzo stared at Lu Han. Is there anyone more greedy than black market killers? Lu Han asked rhetorically. Good. 5 million. Hanzo bid decisively. Deal. The information about Han Guang this time is. Lu Han dragged Chang Yin and pretended to be mysterious. No one knew him better than him, and it was a little addicting to betray himself. Chapter 0490_kill that guy. Some time ago, there was a change in Konoha, which led to Han Guang being promoted to Captain Anbu. White Fang has been transferred from Anbu. On the day Han Guang was promoted to Captain Anbu, Hokage gave him a forbidden technique. It is said that it is the forbidden technique of defense and guardianship. At present, Hangguang has retreated and practiced this forbidden technique. I speculate, Sarutobi Hiruzen let Hangguang practice this forbidden technique to protect the name, so I said that Hangguang may go to protect it after a month. Daming, don't doubt, with Hangguang's talent, 1 month is enough to cultivate the S-level forbidden technique. Lu Han is just talking nonsense. But this is purposeful bullshit. Naturally, it was to extort Sarutobi Hiruzen, so I said everything, and when I went back, I asked Sarutobi Hiruzen for the forbidden technique. How do you know Han Guang so well? You even know about the forbidden technique that Sarutobi Hiruzen gave to Han Guang. Hanzo looked at Lu Han suspiciously. Can't you guess? Lu Han asked back, seemingly surprised. You know Han Guang. Hanzo seemed to understand that it was more believable for him to say this himself than to listen to others. Of course, Lu Han replied. This guy is a Konoha Anbu ninja. I should have thought of it earlier. No wonder his true identity has never been found before. It's as if there is no such person in Konoha. Hanzo thought to himself. In fact, he almost guessed Lu Han's identity, but he would never think in that direction. The bone wood is the cold light. How can it be? What are you kidding? Even if this guy is a lunatic, he can't sell information about himself everywhere. Not looking for excitement. Yes, even lunatics dare not. Lu Han is not a lunatic. In fact, if he had known that the person who was tasked with assassinating him was Hanzo, he would not have sold his information if he was killed, but the situation at that time was out of control, and Lu Han was helpless. As for this time, the information is fake, it doesn't matter what you say. Quote. So, Hangguang may go to protect the daimyo in a month. Hanzo confirmed again. It's not 100% sure. After all, he doesn't even know when he will cultivate that forbidden technique, but the possibility is very high. Lu Han replied, he couldn't say too much, but it was not a pity. Hanzo pondered. He was considering whether to take action after a month. In fact, he planned to act immediately after he got this information, but now he has the opportunity to assassinate Daimyo and Hangguang at the same time. It can even be said that, there is no need to specifically assassinate Han Guang. As long as you go to assassinate the big name, Han Guang will be sent to the door by himself. 5 million taels, you haven't given it to me yet. Lu Han reminded. You really treat money like your life. Hanzo sneered, took out a stack of money tickets from his arms and threw it to Lu Han. "Can I go?" Lu Han asked again. "Wait a minute," Hanzo said immediately, looking coldly at Lu Han. "I still have a problem. I'm selling intelligence, not answering questions." "How much? What's your problem? What happened to Konoha 15 days ago?" Hanzo asked a question that had nothing to do with the assassination. 15 days ago, there was trouble in Konoha. This is no longer a secret for a character like Hanzo, but what happened to Hanzo? "I haven't found any information yet, but I can only confirm that the trouble happened in the forest in the back mountain of Konoha." Of course he couldn't find out anything, and the participants in the rebellion in the back mountains would not leak their secrets. Gen and Anbu, needless to say. The Hyuga clan is strictly hierarchical. Although it has always been a destabilizing factor for Konoha, they are the Konoha police force. The sense of secrecy is higher than that of the Hyuga clan. Others, such as the guards of Kaharu Udatain and others, Tsunade and others, are all advanced ninjas. Even in the current Konoha, although there are all kinds of rumors, except for the ninjas who participated in the incident, other people, also the ninjas of the Uchiha clan who did not participate in the war, know something. After all, their patriarch died and the entire patriarch's guards were killed. No one knows what happened. I don't even know it, let alone Hanzo. He is honored as a demigod, but is not really a god. Because I didn't personally participate, and I didn't know much about it, this matter has a huge impact, and the confidentiality level is the highest top secret, so 5 million is fine. Deal. Hengguang killed Uchiha Yokoyama. Danzo has an unshirkable responsibility for this, and was removed from Hokage's assistant position by Hokage-sama. It is said that even Sarutobi Lake Biwa was implicated, that's all. Lu Han said the truth, it may even expose himself to be the cold light. After all, Hanzo once provoked the relationship between Lu Han and Sarutobi Bawako, and he also knew that Sarutobi Bawako was a very suspicious person. If you think of Ji Yumyu and Han Guang as one person, you can figure out many things right away, or make reliable guesses. Hanzo is a smart man, he must have thought of this. And just because he is smart, he will think more. For example, if this guy in front of him is really cold, how dare he mention Sarutobi Lake Biwa? If he was really cold, how could he kill Uchiha Yokoyama? The last time Ji Yumyu used all his strength in the forest outside the black market, that kind of strength will definitely be killed by Uchiha Yokoyama. Hanzo thinks more and thinks more deeply, so he will completely rule out the idea that Black Kiba is Hengguang. Being smart is mistaken for being smart. It's talking about someone like him who thinks too much and is too smart. Lu Han provided real information, and he was not afraid of Hanzo guessing other things, as long as he didn't find out that he was Han Guang. Lu Han's mission this time was highly authorized by Sarutobi Hiruzen, so he would betray Konoha's intelligence here, there would be no problem, and if there was any trouble, Sarutobi Hiruzen would cover him. Okay, Hanzo nodded after thinking for a while, then took out 5 million taels and threw it to Lu Han, then disappeared immediately, and the futon wind-style chakra barrier also dissipated. The insight map shows that this guy left the black market directly. Outside the black market, Yuhi Cedar Forest, Hanzo stands under the tree, waiting. "Sir." A voice came from behind Hanzo, but no one appeared. "Kill that guy." "Yes." Chapter 0491_No flaw is the biggest flaw. The guy Hanzo was talking about was naturally Bonewood, or Black Kiba. He had already arranged before coming to the black market, so it doesn't need to be said in detail. In fact, before Hanzo came, he was hesitating whether to kill Bone Mu. On the one hand, he considered that Ji Yumyu was a hidden traitor of Konoha, and his existence would not do any good to Konoha, but would only create chaos. From this point of view, it should not be killed, it should be kept, or even drawn. But on the other hand, Hanzo doesn't like to have too much contact with strangers, because he is afraid that the other party will find out his secret and sell information about him. It's very dangerous. Therefore, whether to kill the bonewood or not is between the two. And now, Hanzo has made up his mind to kill him. There is no other reason, no matter what to hide the traitor, or what to leak the secret, there is only one reason why Gyumu must die now, that is, he gave Hanzo a very uneasy feeling. Hanzo didn't even see any flaws in this guy. There is even an unfathomable feeling. There is a saying that is good, there is no flaw, it is the biggest flaw. Hanzo is a thoughtful person, and at the same time he is a very straightforward person. I can't find your flaws, I can't find out if you have any problems, then I don't want to kill you, it's all over. The problem with Han Guang is not only that his performance is too perfect, the key is that he has also exposed Rashomon, which proves the fact that he is a genius ninja. Do it cleanly, and it's best not to let people in the black market find out. Hanzo in front of the tree explained again. I'll do it myself, replied the voice. Yeah, Hanzo finally responded and disappeared directly in place. After Hanzo left, a black shadow flashed across the Yuhi cedar tree behind him, and disappeared in a blink of an eye. In the black market, the central cave. After Hanzo left, Luhan breathed a sigh of relief, and seemed to have lied to Hanzo. When the two exchanged just now, Hanzo had been looking into Luhan's eyes, and Luhan was also looking into Hanzo's eyes. It was undeniable that both of them had extremely strong feelings. With strong observation skills, Luhan obtained the inheritance of Guozhouhai and Hanzo. He is known as a demigod. Therefore, Luhan was sure that Hanzo didn't find a problem in himself, even if he once showed a suspicious look. If Luhan really doubted a person, he would definitely behave very calmly, and Hanzo is also such a person. I hope the journey will be safe, tisk tisk, but unfortunately I don't have the strength to kill Hanzo. Otherwise, why would I need such trouble? Just sell him some flaws, and wait for him to catch up and kill him. It's a pity, it's a pity. This kind of thing, Luhan only I can sigh in my heart. After all, Hanzo is too strong. At present, the strength of the three Tsunade has crossed the threshold of cage level. With their current growth rate, their strength will inevitably reach a higher level in a few years, but it is stated in the original book that after a few years, even if people work together, they can't win against Hanzo. Speaking of which, it was a very strange thing for Hanzo to let the three of them go. Luhan didn't know if there was any inside story. Is the information still for sale? Luhan was standing in the dark corner with a long sigh, when an indifferent voice suddenly sounded from the side. Sell. Luhan replied directly, looking up. Kakuzu who asked the question. Luhan knew that Kakuzu would definitely come. Kakuzu, according to the original records, this is a man who puts money first. He loves money like his life, and the commission for assassinating daimyo is as high as 100 million. He naturally wants to get it. Impossible to imagine what it was for. Jianyu Shiki took over the task of assassinating daimyo. With the financial resources of Jianyu Shiki, he must have purchased more advanced information. Kakuzu thought of these 2 points, so he came to Luhan. He didn't want to give up this mission, even if the Jianyu-style ghost took over this task. The two of them could not conflict at all. Kakuzu just had to kill the daimyo before the Jianyu Shikigami. Therefore, he came to Luhan to buy more advanced intelligence. If he did not outperform the Jianyu-style ghost in intelligence, it would be difficult to complete the assassination mission before the Jianyu-style ghost. Call. The black barrier appeared again, enclosing the two of them. This is 5 million. Kakuzu took out the money ticket directly. No, I've raised the price. I want 10 million. Luhan rubbed his hands together. Kakuzu's eyes froze. He Kiba dared to sit on the ground and raise the price. He hadn't been coerced like this for a long time. You are too greedy, Kakuzu said coldly. He was a little hard to accept. It was hard for anyone else to accept it, not to mention someone like him who pursues the principle of money first. That guy said the same just now. Luhan replied hoarsely. Kakuzu was silent, Lu Han had already hinted that he had bought more advanced intelligence, and he had to consider whether it was worth 10 million to buy this intelligence, although compared with 100 million, 10 million was only 1/10, but if the task is not completed, what's more than the pain? Okay, I'll change the terms. Lu Han spoke again. Huh, Kakuzu squinted at Lu Han, not understanding what Lu Han meant. To be honest, I've gotten into some trouble recently. Lu Han spoke slowly, as if he had something to hide. Although I am not afraid of trouble, in order to prevent accidents, as long as you can escort me away, I will give your intelligence, no money. Kakuzu-style ghosts want to kill people. Kakuzu said immediately. Maybe, I'm not sure if he will kill me, but one thing is certain, even if he wants me to die, he will not do it himself. Lu Han said. Why? Because as long as he kills me, no one will dare to sell information to him in the future. Very simple logic, but also irrefutable logic. Kakuzu was silent. He was considering whether to agree to this matter. As long as he agreed, it would save 10 million. Hiring him directly for short-term protection missions does not have this price. In this way, we can make another agreement. Lu Han continued, if it is really the Jianyu-style ghost who wants to kill me personally, you can stand by and leave, you can. How about it? Deal. Kakuzu finally nodded. Chapter 0492_Walk with Kakuzu. Kakuzu, SIQ is obviously not low, but he's not too intelligent. Knowing how to count money doesn't mean he can count on people's hearts, so he was successfully induced by Lu Han to take on this extremely dangerous mission. Raising the price by 10 million is the incentive, and letting Kakuzu escort saves 10 million for the intelligence is a secondary inducement. Telling Kakuzu that he can avoid confrontation with Hanzo has the effect of making a final decision. Kakuzu did not bargain, and Lu Han has already admitted the threat. From Hanzo, this guy didn't even raise the price. Instead, I've been thinking about saving $1 million. All this is not unexpected to Lu Han, because Lu Han knows that Kakuzu is a person who pursues the principle of money first, but he is very principled. He can kill for money, but he will not kill for no reason. In the original work, Kakuzu is a guy who will do odd jobs when the money is not enough. He has that kind of strength, so why not grab it? Because he has principles. So, Lu Han persuaded Kakuzu, and don't worry that Kakuzu will attack him halfway. If it were another black market killer, he might have done this, because Lu Han has a lot of money and can still ask for information. But Kakuzu won't, because no one gave him money to kill Lu Han. Lu Han likes to deal with principled people like Kakuzu. Compared with the fickle and scheming Danzo, getting along with Kakuzu is very simple. After Kakuzu agreed to Lu Han's request, his name changed from Yuhi to Orange. There were two reasons. First, he had been hired by Lu Han in disguise. Second, Lu Han didn't care much about the life and death of Daming. In fact, even if Kakuzu kills the daimyo tomorrow, Lu Han will not go after Kakuzu unless he gets the task. Therefore, the hostility between the two has completely faded. For the next half a day, Lu Han still sold information on Kabuto in the black market. Naturally, it was the information about the daimyo. It was inappropriate for him to do so. After all, this information was used to deal with Hanzo, but Lu Han considered that even Hanzo had already obtained the information and gave it to others. What does it matter? At this point, Konoha no longer cares that other people will assassinate the daimyo, only Hanzo. From this point of view, the more people who know the information, the better, because then, there will be more ninjas who take on the assassination mission, and they have a competitive relationship. If they know each other, a fight may break out. The more chaotic, the greater the impact on Hanzo, the more beneficial for Konoha. In half a day, Lu Han sold another 6 pieces of intelligence worth 1 million taels, which were purchased by 2 Super S-Class killers and 4 S-Class killers. Lu Han was very suspicious that the 4 S-Class killers bought the intelligence. They all have ulterior motives. After all, S-Class killers cannot accept the task of assassinating daimyo. They may be the nails hidden in the black market by other forces. However, it doesn't matter. At dusk, Luhan and Kakuzu left the black market together, carrying a huge sum of 18 million taels. Luhan was still a little excited. The ninja world is a world where the strong are respected, but it always revolves around money, and money will never lose its value. The sky gradually calmed down, and the light yuhi-colored rain curtain shrouded the yuhi cedar forest. Luhan and Kakuzu were marching towards death one after the other. According to the detailed agreement between him and Kakuzu, Kakuzu would escort him away from the core area of the Land of Rain, in fact, to stay away from the black market. With a Megakure village, but Luhan didn't say it clearly. The two of them traveled at a moderate speed. Including the rest time, it was almost a day and a night. After they left the core area, Luhan would send the information to Kakuzu. 10 million taels a day and a night. The more Kakuzu thought about it, the more he felt that he had made a profit. His thinking fell into a dead end, and he never realized that he was fooled by Luhan. Safe journey. Until nightfall, Luhan didn't find any problems. The insight map showed that the group of ninjas arranged in the Blood Rain Valley did not move, which made Luhan relieved again. A Megakure village is a forbearance growing in the continuous killing. Although the population and the number of ninjas are quite different from those of the 5 major ninja villages, there are many masters. According to the original book, the Tsunade 3 fought against Hanzo only at the end of the Second Ninja War, that is, in the 36th or 37th year of Konoha, and obtained the joint title of Konoha Sanin through the mouth of Hanzo. In other words, in this ninja war, which can be regarded as a catastrophe in the ninja world, a Megakure village relied on a small number of ninjas to survive the most brutal period of the ninja war. The core battlefield can be in the country of Rain. Compared with the strength of other ninja villages, a Megakure village needs to pay more to maintain the war and maintain the material supply line. At night, Luhan and Kakuzu had already left the Blood Rain Valley, and had crossed the entire Kaifeng grassland and entered the giant bamboo forest in the southeast of the Kaifeng grassland. The so-called giant bamboo forest is naturally a bamboo forest composed of huge bamboos. The bamboos here are really huge, most of them are over 100 meters high and over 1 meter in diameter. Some individual giants are hundreds of meters high and several meters in diameter. Perhaps, such incredible bamboo forests can only be nurtured in places like the Land of Rain where the rain is extremely abundant. Luhan and Kakuzu stopped their journey after nightfall, and found an open space in the giant bamboo forest as a place to stay. Originally, Kakuzu proposed to travel through the night, but Luhan rejected it, on the grounds that what should come will always come. In fact, I want to enter the subversive space tonight. If I keep on the road and stop suddenly before the early morning, it will make people feel very strange. Night, getting deeper. The fire in the open space had already been extinguished, and the rain was getting heavier and heavier. There was a huge bamboo on the southern edge of the open space, 3 meters in diameter. At this time, a door had been cut open in the bamboo, and Luhan and Kakuzu were hiding under the huge bamboo. Take shelter from the rain in the space of the last section. Why did you choose me? Kakuzu asked suddenly, closing his eyes and resting. You are more famous. I know some things about you. In comparison, I don't know other people. You are a little more reliable than them. Luhan, who was sitting on the other side, replied, looking up at Kakuzu. Kakuzu said nothing. Someone is here. Luhan suddenly stood up. The insight map showed that a large Yuhi point entered the monitoring range of the insight map from 5 kilometers north, moving at an outrageous speed, and went straight to the location of Luhan. Chapter 0493_Flee Without a Fight. Unique Yuhi name is naturally displayed as a big Yuhi point on the insight map. Captain Megakure Anbu, level 60 bronze boss, smoke. It's him. Luhan immediately thought of some information about the person who came. In Konoha Anbu's top secret information, there is very little information about smoke. Unlike Konoha White Fang is Hitaki Tsukumo. A lot of information can be found at the first level, and cigarette. This guy has no second identity, the only identity is cigarette. Yan's record is not many. Although the country of rain has been in war for many years, he has made very few shots, and Konoha has not investigated the exact information about his fighting ability and fighting method. Most of the information about smoke is based on conjectures and assumptions. Only one piece of information is relatively accurate. This information comes from the black market. Smoke can turn itself into smoke. And the statement that smoke can be smoky has never been confirmed, and there is no other reason. This guy has never lost and never left a living. It's just a level 60 bronze boss, but it's so evil. Luhan said, killing a target that didn't even get the title of Silver White, it's not fun to kill. After all, Luhan is not alone, and Kakuzu, besides, no more kills. The speed of the smoke is very fast, comparable to the speed of sound, and he moves in a straight line. It seems that he does not need to bypass any obstacles, and he can cross a distance of 3 or 4 kilometers in 10 seconds. He's a very powerful guy, be careful. Luhan said in a confirmed tone, and then even jumped out of the huge bamboo with Kakuzu. The rain was still falling, the night was thick, and the bamboo forest was extremely dark, but Luhan and Kakuzu were both cage-level ninjas with excellent eyesight. Call. Smoke is coming. With Luhan's eyesight, he tightly caught a black light 100 meters away, and then a black figure appeared. This figure was wrapped in thick black smoke, no more than 1.6 meters tall, thin and small, but because of with the existence of black smoke, no one can see his true face clearly. This guy, Kakuzu's eyes were very fearful, because he smelled an extremely dangerous breath from the smoke. Why did you stop? Luhan said in a relaxed tone. I'm afraid when you see that we are two people. Yan is too mysterious and his abilities are unpredictable. Luhan tried to learn more through language, although it might not be effective. Kakuzu. Yan made a low voice that didn't resemble a human voice, looked at Kakuzu, then at Luhan, then turned into a black on. Back on the same road. Run. This guy ran away. Luhan and Kakuzu were stunned at the same time. This ghost didn't play cards according to the routine. The insight map shows that the smoke really ran away. The speed of leaving was faster than when he came, and after 10 seconds, he was out of the range of the insight map. Is this the kind of Captain Omegakure Anbu? Afraid of dying? No. This is not to be afraid of, but to seek advantages and avoid disadvantages. Yan is not passive, but active. His goal is only one, and that is this Konoha ninja called Black Kiba. He is ready to kill, but something unexpected happened, the black market. The Super S-class killer Kakuzu turned out to be with the Black Kiba, which broke the original plan made by Yan, and he was not willing to take the risk for it. Yan did not fail, not because he was strong against the sky, but because he understood that hard work often cannot solve problems. This is an extremely calm and very decisive guy. Damn it. He will definitely report to Hanzo. Maybe, Hanzo will come over in person. With this guy's speed, it won't take long to get back to Omegakure village. Luhan, who had recovered, suddenly thought that it wasn't his brain. The response was slow, but the smoke retreated too decisively. Such a shameless opponent Luhan had not met for a long time, and his brain was a little short-circuited. This guy must have come to kill me, but he recognized you and knew your strength, so he chose to retreat, probably to find helpers. We have to get out of here quickly. Luhan said quickly. He originally planned to entering the subversive space today. It looks like it will be delayed, and it is important to escape. It is not shameful to escape for one's life, it is a fool to have to fight against it knowingly that the opponent is too strong. Late at night, Omegakure village, dark room. Da. The sound of the fingers tapping the desktop lightly one after another is particularly clear in this quiet environment. Sir. A cold voice suddenly appeared in the darkest corner of the room. The beating stopped. Hanzo opened his eyes and asked indifferently, "What's wrong?" Of course he didn't count, but the smoke came back early. Kakuzu is with him, Yan replied. Oh, Hanzo was a little surprised, because he only gave Yan the task of assassinating Black Kiba, and he didn't let others stare, so he didn't know that Black Kiba left the black market with Kakuzu. Humph. That guy, really be careful enough to find someone to go with you. Forget it, I'll go there myself. When the voice fell, Hanzo had disappeared from the room. Time flies, 5 days later. Naturally, Hanzo didn't catch up with Lu Han, and he wasn't really a god. When he arrived at the bamboo forest, Lu Han and Kakuzu had already been far away. It was raining too much and there was no clue to follow. Although Hanzo was unwilling, he could only go back. But he later ordered the search for Black Kiba throughout the land of rain. This didn't cause any trouble for Lu Han, because Lu Han changed his identity and image. The southwestern battlefield of the Rain Country is the main battlefield where Konoha and Sunagakure fought. Recently, Konoha suffered a big loss on the battlefield here for only one reason: a large number of ninjas were poisoned. This is a non-lethal poison, but it is extremely difficult to detoxify. For this reason, Tsunade has not rested for days and nights, trying to crack the poison. Konoha's second main battle army frontline secret stronghold, in a quaint wooden house. Tsunade with bloodshot eyes sat on a chair, flipping through the scrolls in her hands. There were 7 or 8 scrolls on the table in front of her. These scrolls were all wisdom left by her predecessors. And what Tsunade is reading at this time is a volume of notes called Zhao Detoxification. That's right, this note was written by Zhao more than 10 years ago. At that time, Zhao was not only a master of disguise, but also a drug maker and detoxifier. Grandmaster. At the same time, at the entrance of the stronghold, a samurai who calls himself Ghosts is negotiating with the guard ninjas. Chapter 0494_Lu Han wants to kill monsters. This is a small stronghold hidden in the mountains. It is very close to the main battlefield, but it is also very hidden. There are only more than 100 ninjas in the entire stronghold, and there are only ordinary ninja brigade. In the jungle, a thin samurai in black is negotiating with 2 Konoha chunin. If your excellency cannot give a reasonable explanation, then don't blame our subordinates for being ruthless. The bald chunin said with an expressionless face. 2 chunins pulled out the knife, the other kept the hand seal action, and both were ready for battle. They both understood that the warrior with the hat in front of him was abnormal. Why was it abnormal? Because many traps have been set up in the forest around the stronghold, some of which were set by Mr. Orochimaru himself, but this guy was able to walk over without destroying the traps. No problem. I want to see Tsunade, said Lu Han, who had already reported the name. Goes to see, you can't verify my identity, and you don't know me. 2 chunins changed drastically. How did this guy know that Tsunade was here? Call. At this moment, a figure appeared behind the 2 of them out of thin air, and asked coldly. Master Orochimaru. The 2 chunin quickly stepped aside and turned to greet him respectfully, and then the bald chunin said, this person claims to be a ghost, and wants to see Lord Tsunade. Oh, Orochimaru in black robe frowned and looked at Lu Han. Lu Han has changed a lot at this time, his breath and eyes are different from before, and more importantly, that handsome and somewhat girlish face is so anti-human, that Orochimaru, who is very familiar with him, did not immediately notice him. Recognize him. Who are you? Orochimaru asked with a frown, his fingertips moved subconsciously. He had the urge to ask for a hand seal, because he smelled an extremely dangerous aura from the warrior in front of him. Strength reaching the level of Orochimaru, his 6th sense is already extremely sharp. Remember, at that time, in the cave, you were injured, and you made too many demands on me. Lu Han said lightly, blinking at Orochimaru. Orochimaru came to mind right away. Injuries, excessive demands. Orochimaru has been carrying out missions with Tsunade and Jiraiya all year round. Not counting these 2, there is only one person who meets the above 3 conditions, Han Guang. The 2 chunin looking at Orochimaru were already very strange, and even said something strange. After all, Lu Han was very naughty at this time, and he talked about excessive demands. It was always well known that Orochimaru didn't have a girlfriend. In fact, What Luhan said was an excessive request, nothing more than that Orochimaru wanted to accept Luhan as a disciple, but the two Chunins obviously already had dirty thoughts. She's inside. Orochimaru tilted his head at Luhan, then turned and walked into the depths of the forest. Luhan followed Orochimaru's footsteps. Why are you here? Mission. After asking and answering, there was no sound, but it also solved the doubts in Orochimaru's heart. Why does it need to change his appearance and hide his identity if it is not a mission? The mission performed by Captain Anbu, Han Guang, was obviously a secret. Orochimaru would not ask much, nor would he be too lazy to ask. Orochimaru didn't know was that Luhan's mission was over 4 days ago and he could go back directly to Konoha, but he didn't go back right away. 4 days ago, Luhan and Kakuzu left the core area of the Rain Country and parted ways. Before leaving, Luhan gave Kakuzu information, but it was different from Hanzo. Luhan told Kakuzu that the Jianyu-style ghost was Hanzo, and he knew how to do it. Assassinate daimyo a month later. These are 2 pieces of information, which are extremely heavy. If Luhan expects it well, Kakuzu will definitely assassinate the daimyo within a month. Before Hanzo starts, Hanzo is known as a demigod. The idea of fluke has been abandoned. After parting with Kakuzu, Luhan decided after some thought that he would not go. He wants to brush monsters. Brush the puppet. At present, his strength has reached the bottleneck period, and it is difficult to make great progress in a short period of time, and the threat of Hanzo is always there. Luhan doesn't like this feeling. He wants to resist, since he can't improve quickly in a short time. One's own strength can only rely on foreign objects, puppets. Kill enough puppets, you can get enough psychic badges, you can exchange for strong enough puppets. After Luhan made his decision, he went straight to the southwest battlefield. This is the main battlefield where Konoha and Sunagakur fought, and the Sunagakur puppet army fought here. Along the way, Luhan changed his route several times and changed his identity several times in order to avoid Omegakur's search. After that, he first arrived at the 2nd Main Battle Legion's station, and revealed his identity to the leader of the 2nd Main Battle Legion. A greeting prevents him from being treated as an enemy when he joins the war or causing an accident to reveal his identity. Unexpectedly, he got news from Tsunade. Sunagakur recently used a very potent non-lethal poison, which was used on a large scale in Sunagakur ninja weapons, causing a large number of Konoha ninjas to lose their combat effectiveness due to poisoning with minor injuries. Why not use lethal poison? First, lethal poison is easier to crack, and it is dangerous to oneself when used. Second, lethal poison will not burden the enemy. So the poison is non-lethal. Large number of Konoha ninjas have been poisoned, and they need more ninjas to take care of them. It is impossible for Konoha to give up on them. If this situation is maintained for a long time, it will be enough to drag down the logistical support of Konoha. This is the result Sunagakur wants. Luhan, who knows Akatsuki's original work, knows that all poisons are developed by Chiyo, but they will all be cracked by Tsunade. Currently, Tsunade is working on cracking Sunagakur's first poison. This secret base was where Tsunade used to research antidote. Orochimaru led the way, Luhan followed all the way, and went all the way to the bottom of the low mountain deep in the forest, where there was a row of wooden houses hidden under the shade of trees, which was difficult to find from a high altitude. The wooden house in the middle, Tsunade watched, Zhaohai detoxification, with extreme irritability. Zhaohai is a geek, and his detoxification method is also unusual, which is completely different from Tsunade's long-standing detoxification concept. Understand the feeling. It's really unreliable to rely on the wisdom of predecessors to detoxify, after all, the times are different. Tsunade laughed at himself. Chapter 0495_Marry Me. Isn't it? The wisdom of our predecessors is the precious wealth of our younger generation. As soon as Tsunade finished speaking, a frivolous voice sounded outside the door, and footsteps gradually sounded. Tsunade frowned and slammed the scroll on the table, turning to look at the door. Orochimaru pushed open the door. Actually, Tsunade had already sensed Orochimaru's aura before. As for the one beside Orochimaru, it was very unfamiliar. Tsunade thought it was a ninja in the stronghold, but now it doesn't seem to be the case. The one next to Orochimaru is a tall and anti-human black samurai with a thin and handsome appearance. Didn't I say, don't disturb me? Tsunade glanced at Luhan and chose to ignore it, talking directly to Orochimaru. A bead of sweat was evident on Orochimaru's temple. Even if he is super strong, even if he is frightening, even if his temperament is as cold as winter, he still understands that the irritable Tsunade can't be offended. Konoha's first female man is not Tsunade's self-proclaimed, but it is recognized that if you don't want to bear the wrath of the female Tyrannosaurus, you should stay away from her when she is irritable. He's looking for you. Orochimaru bit his head and pointed at Luhan, completely guilty of trying to shift his focus. I don't care who you are. But the tone of your voice, the look in your eyes, I hate it. Orochimaru can let you come here. It means that you are not the enemy of Konoha, but I hope you will get out of my sight immediately. No, countdown. Tsunade was obviously in a state of irritability similar to menopause. She didn't even give Luhan a chance to speak. She didn't recognize Luhan. As the person who knew Luhan the most, she still didn't see the flaw. Luhan is a new generation of camouflage masters. If he doesn't take the initiative to reveal his flaws, there will be no flaws. I'm here to help you detoxify. Luhan said with a smile. Introduce myself. The next three swordsman warriors, Gui Jonsho, and Lord Orochimaru used to be friends in the cave. What the hell is the turn of the cave? Orochimaru gave Luhan a strange look, obviously not understanding why Luhan didn't reveal his identity. Could it be bad taste? Orochimaru is not sure if it is a bad taste, but he did not refute Luhan's words. Although he has many annoying shortcomings, he has a very commendable advantage, that is, he never cares about his own business. He knew that it was impossible for the cold light to hurt Tsunade, and that was enough. He didn't care about the rest. Are you here to help me detoxify? Are you a third-rate warrior who understands poison? Correction, it's a three-knife flow, not a third class. Tsunade ignored what Luhan said later, and looked at Orochimaru again. It seemed that she was on the verge of going crazy. Didn't you say don't bother me? What's this guy coming from? It's all said. We are friends in the cave. Luhan said first, and then looked at Orochimaru again. Lord Orochimaru, I know you are worried about being beaten now, so you can go. I am here, don't worry. No surprises. Quote. Orochimaru turned around and left without any hesitation. He wanted to leave for a long time. Tsunade's face changed, and Orochimaru's reaction when he said he would leave was beyond her expectations, and even surprised her a little. What's the origin of this person? It seems that his relationship with Orochimaru is extraordinary. Orochimaru seems to trust him very much. Could it be? Tsunade set his eyes on Luhan's handsome and girly face, and couldn't help but ponder. Hey, don't think about it, bastard, I'm a pure man. Luhan cried out strangely. He saw through Tsunade's mind. Can you detoxify? Tsunade changed the subject directly, because she thought of another possibility. This person was a master of poison among the samurai, and he was a helper found by Orochimaru. I understand a little. Luhan smiled, walked into the room and walked directly to the table. There were a total of 8 scrolls on the table. The others were all rolled up. Only one was half open, revealing the words inside, and Luhan saw the words, Zhaohai detoxification, at a glance. God's will. Luhan sighed in his heart, and directly picked up the corner sea poison solution. In fact, the reason why Luhan came here was not only to say hello, but also to help Tsunade crack the poison. At first, he killed Zhaohai and gained Zhaohai's camouflage ability. During the process of obtaining the ability, Luhan saw Zhaohai's life segment, including the information on detoxification and detoxification, was directly injected into Luhan's mind. Therefore, Lu Han is now not only a master of disguise, but also has a strong ability to produce and detoxify. I still remember that a year ago, Lu Han used poisoning methods when he deceived Captain Kurigakure Anbu and others in the Land of Water. The impact of John's blood fog shows how terrible its poison-making ability is. Don't look at that, it's useless, it's just misleading the children. Tsunade couldn't help but remind him coldly when he saw that Lu Han was watching. Zhaohai poison solution, seriously. I don't know why, Tsunade felt very annoying from the first sight of Gui Jiansho. Gui Jiansho has a sense of contradiction that he can't explain clearly, which increases Tsunade's irritability. Oh, not necessarily, Lu Han smiled. In my opinion, the content here is just enough to make a suitable antidote. How much have you seen? How dare you speak out like this? I'll never forget it. Can I read it? If you can't come up with useful advice yet, please get out and don't send it. Hey, with your attitude, how can we cooperate? Who wants to work with you? You came uninvited. In fact, Tsunade is not a person who is good at verbal confrontation. She likes to speak with her fists, but she has been with Tsunade for a long time, and she is obviously good at talking. Well, let's make a bet that if I can solve the poison that Sunagakure used on Konoha this time, you promise me a condition. Lu Han looked at Tsunade defiantly. What conditions? Don't worry, if you're really capable, Konoha won't treat you badly. Tsunade's tone softened a lot. Although she was super unhappy with the person in front of her, she didn't forget that detoxification is more important. The condition is, marry me, Lu Han said in a very serious tone. Tsunade's face froze, killing intent flashed in his eyes, and then he said with a sneer, if my man hears what you just said, you are already a corpse. Chapter 0496 Orochimaru is a fool. Lu Han was stunned for a moment, and then his heart blossomed with joy. My man. Tsunade just called me a man. Tsunade is the kind of woman who looks very feminine but is very restrained in her feelings. She has never said anything intimate to Lu Han. Is it boring? Your man. Do you have a man? Lu Han asked, pretending to be surprised, as if he knew something great. Is it strange to have a man at my age? Tsunade responded coldly, paused and then threatened. You'd better stop chewing your tongue. If what I said to you spreads out today, I promise you will become one corpse. I understand. Lu Han hurriedly agreed, smiling mysteriously, as if I understood you. Seeing the ghosts and sorrows like this, Tsunade was very angry. Let's change the terms. As long as you can crack the poison, Konoha will try to accommodate your request. Tsunade added. Marry me. Guijian's sadness did not change. Boom. He landed with a punch and the ground shattered. Lu Han jumped out when Tsunade attacked, and hurriedly shouted, just kidding, joking, why don't you have any sense of humor? If you dare to talk nonsense, I promise that it is you who will be crushed. Tsunade, who was about to explode with anger, bit Kiba's teeth. She just kept his hand, otherwise it must not be just the ground. Call. A figure suddenly appeared at the door of the room, and the terrifying aura diffused. If there was any substance, it quickly dissipated. Jiraiya looked at Tsunade and Lu Han suspiciously, and asked, what's the situation? Tsunade, who is this guy? Of course, Jiraiya couldn't recognize Lu Han, and Orochimaru didn't tell him clearly, he just heard the movement here came directly. Just a shameless person. Tsunade commented on Lu Han, and immediately gave Jiraiya another sideways look. It's none of your business here. Is it really all right? Jiraiya asked worriedly, looking at Lu Han with a puzzled look. For some reason, he saw Lu Han's back a little familiar, but he couldn't remember it all of a sudden. The breath of ghosts and sorrows was too unfamiliar to him. Don't worry, we're just discussing the solution to the poison, because there are some minor differences in concept. This time it was Lu Han who spoke, and he raised his eyebrows provocatively at Tsunade. Do you understand poison? Can you discuss it with Tsunade? Jiraiya not only didn't leave, but took 2 steps into the house, sending a lot of Luhan up and down. You, a third-rate warrior, also understand poison. Correction, it's the 3 swords style. Luhan reminded him. He was carrying 3 swords, and at first glance he looked like a 3 swords style samurai, and it was impossible for Jiraiya not to see it. Don't worry, you know poison. Jiraiya looked at Luhan with suspicion. Slightly understand. Aren't you here to make trouble? He was found by Orochimaru, called Jansho. Tsunade interjected coldly. Orochimaru's friend. Jiraiya was shocked, and the suspicion in his eyes suddenly diminished. Orochimaru is very reliable, and the person who came here should be. Damn, it still looks unreliable. Stop gossiping, Master Tsunade. Luhan looked at Tsunade. Let's talk about poison. If I can make an antidote, then. Tsunade narrowed his eyes, staring at Gui Jansho, for fear that Gui Jansho would say, "Marry me, Jiraiya is here." Then, promise me a request. Don't worry, this request is guaranteed to be reasonable. Well, reasonable request, I agree. Tsunade said, emphasizing the word, reasonable. What is reasonable? Want money. Ninjutsu. To help. It's all reasonable, and, marry me, certainly doesn't count. Wait a minute, I have a question. Jiraiya suddenly said, looking at Luhan with a strange look. Focusing on Luhan's face, her voice subconsciously lowered a lot. I take the liberty to ask, what is your relationship with Orochimaru? Luhan's face stiffened, and he said with a stern face, Orochimaru is an idiot. Oh, it doesn't look like you have that kind of relationship. It scared me to death, I thought. Jiraiya looked relieved, and Luhan felt a pain in his eyes. Southwest of the Land of Rain, in the dense forest at the foot of the mountain. 4 Sunagakur village Jonins gathered under the big tree, one of them holding a scroll portrait and talking to each other. Is it him? You read that right? It's definitely him. How could it be wrong? That guy looks so distinctive. Well, indeed, it is enough to make people remember at a glance, hehe. You are so courageous, you have killed Master Eli, and you still dare to stay in the country of rain. But speaking of it, this guy's ability to hide is really strong. A Megakure village has been cooperating with us in our search 6 days ago, but we just couldn't find him, hey. We are so lucky, this reward is definitely indispensable. Then now, what to do? He just entered the mountain. It's hard to say what's in the mountain. It's too close to the Konoha core station. The ninja holding the scroll portrait paused, thought for a moment, and then decided, with our strength, we will hit the spot on the spot. It's easier to kill him, but it will be very difficult to capture him alive for the adults to deal with. Well, the 2 of you go back to report, and you, to dispatch a squadron of reconnaissance puppets. I'll be here to guard. 1 day later. On the southwestern border of the Land of Rain, in the camp of the Sunagakur 3rd Army Corps. Then please Takakai-sama. Ito looked at the tall ninja in front of him and said. Where is it? Takumino, the commander of Sunagakur's 3rd Main Battle Corps, smiled and waved his hand, and immediately sighed again, alas. Brother, my condolences and change. You can rest assured, since there is a portrait and obvious characteristics. If you want to find this person and it's not difficult, I will try my best. Thank you. Ito Teru nodded slightly, then drank the tea instead of the wine. In the past 7 or 8 days, Ito Teru has never rested in order to find the murderer. He contacted a Megakure and visited all the commanders of the major legions, in order to mobilize as much energy as possible and find the murderer as soon as possible. Just then, there were hurried footsteps outside the door. Report, your lord. Found traces of black market warriors. Chapter 0497_Fight Poison with Poison. What? Ito Teru stood up suddenly, then disappeared with a flicker, and appeared outside the door again, looking down at the messenger ninja kneeling on one knee and said solemnly, where? The southern foot of the Yunyu Mountains in the northwest of Battlefield No. 2, the Blackwood Forest. The reporting ninja spoke extremely fast. There. Ito Teru frowned. Mountains. The 2nd Konoha Main Battle Legion was stationed there. It was already the rear of the 2nd Konoha Legion. It was heavily guarded and extremely dangerous. Even though Ito Teru's strength is there, he can come and go freely, just don't come into direct contact with Konoha, but he is not going to hang out, but to kill. Too many uncertainties. Sir, this is the detailed information. The reporting ninja immediately took out the scroll and handed it to Ito Teru. The content on the scroll quickly made Ito Teru's face gloomy. He wants to kill the black-clothed samurai, and the revenge of killing his son is undeniable, but he must consider the influence of Konoha's existence. It is easy to kill the black-clothed samurai, but if Konoha discovers the murder, the trouble will be fought. Ito Teru hesitated and struggled in his heart. He knew the danger, but he didn't want to give up. Damn! Ito Teru let out a low voice, bit Kiba and disappeared. Sunagaku puppet troops were stationed closer to the Yunyu Mountains. Ito Teru hurried back, and after a brief secret meeting with Chiyo, left alone. The reason why he came back to Chiyo for discussion was naturally because Chiyo was resourceful. He hoped that Chiyo could give him suitable advice, and Chiyo did give him suitable advice. Go alone. Quick fight. It's that simple. It seems simple, but in fact Chiyo has considered it very comprehensively. In fact, Ito Teru can bring many masters there, but it is not worth it to kill a black samurai. Moreover, once Konoha finds out, Ito Teru will definitely be able to escape. What about the others? It was easier for Ito Teru to pass alone, and he could fight and retreat. Dai believes in Ito Teru's strength very much. The puppet army is Sunagaku's most luxurious and most powerful troop. Ito Teru is the chief puppet master. Of course, Sunagaku also has several terrible puppet masters who are not inferior to Ito Teru, such as Chiyo, but to say that 100% must be stronger than Teru Ito, no. However, although Chiyo believed in Teru Ito, she still gave some help to Teru Ito just to be on the safe side. It's a bottle of poison. A bottle of strong poison enough to kill the elite Jonin directly, with no solution. In the mountains, secret strongholds. There is a mountain wall behind a row of wooden houses. There is a cave at the bottom. After entering, there is a cave. This is a temporary resettlement area. After entering the cave, there is a long passage. There is a cave stone room every few meters on both sides of the passage. 9 stone chambers house 9 Konoha Chunin who are in a coma with poisoning, and are all cared for by medical ninjas. These 9 Konoha ninjas are Tsunade's research objects, and the other poisoned ninjas are all in the base camp and are taken care of collectively. The reason why Tsunade chose the research site here is that he doesn't want to be disturbed and urged, and the second is that there are many herbs in this call, where Tsunade can use the freshest herbs to make antidote for the first time. Noon today. Inside the 3rd stone. The poisoned Chunin lay flat on the wooden cave, which was placed in the middle of the stone chamber, and there were 3 people around the wooden cave. Tsunade, Jiraiya, Gue Jonsho. This is your last chance, understand? Tsunade said with a cold face. She had no patience to follow this girly warrior to study poisons. For a day and a night, Tsunade didn't do her own research, and was always cooperating with this guy. Speaking of which, this guy still has some skills, at least he understands pharmacology and can dispense medicines, but what Tsunade can't tolerate is that this guy only uses the detoxification method in Zhaohai Yaoji. One day and one night, the 3 of them stayed awake. Gue Jonsho was in charge of preparing the prescription and dispensing the poison, Tsunade attacked, and Jiraiya was purely accompanying. 12 antidotes have been formulated before, all of which are ineffective. Tsunade was really impatient. Don't be in such a hurry to drive me away. Don't be afraid of failure, there will always be success. Luhan looked very relaxed and had to admit that Chiyo's poison was really difficult to solve. It may be solved, there is no other reason. Zhaohai detoxification is something from more than 10 years ago, and it was written before Zhaohai betrayed Konoha. However, Luhan's detoxification did not rely on Zhaohai detoxification, but the ability of Zhaohai that was even more profound. Zhaohai has only been dead for more than a year. After he wrote Konoha Detoxification, before his death, and during this period of time, he betrayed Konoha and joined the Omegakure village. He has been trained by Hanzo for more than 10 years, and his ability to detoxify has grown by leaps and bounds. If the content recorded in Zhaohai Detoxification has LV1 detoxification ability, then Master Lu Han's is LV6. Don't talk nonsense, let's see if it works this time, or I can go to bed. Jiraiya said with a yawn, with a lazy look. It must be successful. Lu Han smiled and glanced at Tsunade. Remember our agreement. After saying that, Lu Han took out a small bottle from his arms. The transparent glass bottle, which is very small, contains a deep yuhi-colored liquid, mixed with some dirty black spots. It doesn't look like an antidote, it looks like a poison. This antidote, oral and topical, does not require chakra to catalyze. During the process of detoxification, the poisoned person may experience some uncomfortable symptoms, but just bear with it. Lu Han said while putting the cap on the bottle. Open it, and motioned to Jiraiya to pick up the poisoned chunin. Wait a minute, Tsunade drank suddenly, staring at Lu Han. After opening the cap, Tsunade smelled an unusual smell. What's wrong? Lu Han blinked at Tsunade. Let me check. Tsunade snatched the antidote into his hands, and first used chakra to probe into it to check its properties. His face darkened a bit, but he didn't seem to give up. He lowered his head and smelled the antidote. A disgusting smell. Is this the antidote you developed? Tsunade looked up gloomily. Yeah, what's the problem? This is clearly a pure poison. Yes, fight poison with poison. Chapter 0498 Against Common Sense. Tackling poison with poison. Tsunade's voice suddenly rose an octave, and his eyes were full of anger when he looked at Lu Han. You dare to fight poison with poison? Yeah, what's the problem? Lu Han blinked in confusion. Tsunade breathed a little faster. His white eyes were bloodshot, and Ultimate said with anger, do you know that this is an advanced poison developed by Sunagakure Chiyo? I know, what's the problem? Lu Han was stunned by Tsunade's shout. Knowing that it is a high-level poison, how dare you use it to fight poison? Can't advanced poison fight poison with poison? Tsunade was almost choked to death by Lu Han. His face flushed yuhi. He held his breath for a few seconds before roaring, do you have any common sense? Common sense. Lu Han was taken aback for a moment, then a flash of light flashed in his mind. He figured it out. The concept of fighting poison with poison has existed for thousands of years, but it is unusually cold. For thousands of years, neither ordinary person poison masters nor ninja poison masters have done in-depth research on this concept. The reason is that it is too dangerous and non-toxic. Antidotes are used on people, they are useless and have no side effects, while poisonous antidotes are used on people who are poisoned. However, after thousands of years of accumulation, the method of detoxification is a small development, but it can only be used to crack low-level poisons. Low-level poison is weak and deadly to ordinary people. For ninjas, especially medical ninjas, it can be said to be harmless. Using one low-level poison to crack another low-level poison, even if there is an accident, it can be timely. Save. But high-level poison does not work. The poison is too violent and the composition is too complicated. If you use another high-level poison to detoxify, the two poisons will collide in the human body and cannot be detoxified, and the advanced ninja will die. Therefore, there is a consensus in the ninja world today that fighting poison with poison can be used, but it can only be used to deal with low-level poison, otherwise it is equivalent to murder. Tsunade questioned whether Lu Han had common sense, and that's what he said. And Lu Han really has no common sense. Because Lu Han's detoxification ability comes from Zhaohai. This guy, Zhaohai, has done in-depth research on the concept of fighting poison with poison when he was in Konoha, but he has not done too many experiments, because the environment of Konoha does not allow it. So in Zhaohai Detoxification, although he wrote a lot about fighting poison with poison, But the highest also involves some non-lethal intermediate poisons. This is also the reason why Tsunade disdains Zhaohai after watching Zhaohai Detoxification. She thinks that Zhaohai's research ideas are completely wrong. Fighting poison with poison. This is already a topic that ninja poison masters disdain to study. Only ordinary people poison masters will study it, but they have no choice. Without the ability of ninjas, low-level poisons can't handle it. A low-level medical ninjutsu can easily solve it. Poison is enough to make the most respected old doctors helpless among ordinary people. When they use the concept of fighting poison with poison, they are helpless after being helpless. Why Tsunade seemed to be mad when Lu Han was about to fight poison with poison? Common sense. Common sense. What Tsunade didn't know was that it was also Konoha. After he betrayed Konoha and joined Omegakure, he conducted a lot of experiments on living bodies, and made great achievements in the field of detoxification with poison. Zhaohai is definitely a genius. In fact, Zhaohai is also helpless. He has studied how difficult it is to fight poison with poison. Every poison master and doctor understands that Zhaohai would not go this way if it wasn't for his poor ninja strength. It can be said that if Zhaohai is still alive, he will be the most poisonous master in the ninja world who uses poison to fight poison. Now that he is dead, Lu Han is number one. Actually, why didn't try it? Facing Tsunade's gaze, Lu Han said with some guilty conscience, maybe it can detoxify. It's not that Lu Han has no confidence in the poison, but that he is afraid that Tsunade will suddenly act, and the play will not be able to continue. What are you calling us Konoha ninjas? Are you your test subject? Tsunade was still furious. Her attitude is already obvious, no. Even if Lu Han explained his true identity now, it probably wouldn't work. The method of fighting poison with poison cannot be used to deal with high-level poisons. This is Tsunade's bottom line as a doctor. Then, well, return the antidote to me, the head office. Lu Han seemed to give up. Tsunade threw the small bottle back in disgust. Lu Han grabbed it quickly and almost fell. Go away, don't let me see you again. Tsunade's tone was cold, really angry. She now hates this samurai named Kikanzu from the bottom of her heart, because this guy doesn't have the least respect for the life of the Konoha ninja. Don't worry, Lu Han said, and took out a small cloth bag from his arms. After opening it, there was a kunai inside. The blade of the kunai flashed with a faint blue color. This is a hardened kunai. Poison weapons, from the Sunagakure Corps, are trophies used by Konoha for research, and the bitter poison is the culprit of the recent poisoning of a large number of Konoha ninjas. What are you going to do? Tsunade squinted at Lu Han, not knowing what trick Lu Han was going to play. I firmly believe that my antidote is useful, Lu Han said, turning his wrist at the same time. The poisoned kuwu slashed the back of his hand, and the deep wound was bleeding. Ding! Remind Subversive 3665 that you have entered a poisoned state. The elf's voice sounded in Lu Han's ears. Tsunade's eyes suddenly widened, and he looked at Lu Han with a bewildered expression. She already knew what Lu Han was going to do. Since you can't use the antidote, which is a highly toxic drug, on the Konoha ninja, use it on yourself. This guy must be crazy. Jiraiya on the other side of the wooden collapse shook his head. He didn't know much about detoxification, but he believed in Tsunade. The toxicity is good, Lu Han muttered in his heart. When the poison quickly flowed through his body through his blood medicine, he had a deeper understanding of the poison. This poison can only poison elite Jonin at most. But the elite Jonin is too strong enough to suppress the poison. In other words, with Lu Han's strength, he can easily refine this poison. Of course, he didn't do it. He was able to fight poison with poison. Under Tsunade's wide-eyed gaze, Lu Han drank the bottle of poisonous antidote. Chapter 0499 on gambling. I drank half of it, and the rest fell on the wound on the back of my hand. I am a little dizzy. My heart is racing. I'm starting to sweat. Lu Han immediately began to talk about his discomfort. Although these conditions were mild to him, he was tolerant. The whole thing is too strong, and most of the antidote is used on Jen and Chunin. The mild discomfort on Luhan will definitely become serious when it comes to Jen and Chunin. Tsunade stared at Luhan, and at this moment, she deeply understood what a lunatic was. She was very nervous and contradictory. On the one hand, she hated the bastard in front of her too much. Even if this guy died, she would not take a second look, but the antidote was too much to do, and she hoped that fighting poison with poison would be successful. A moment of silence. It's been a while. Okay, Luhan said again, as far as those situations are concerned, if it happened to Jenin, the danger is not too big, it's just more painful. Detox. Tsunade couldn't believe it. Yes. Luhan nodded. Tsunade stepped forward and grabbed Luhan's wrist. The unique chakra penetrated into Luhan's body and searched quickly. Luhan's body was empty. He didn't transform chakra, so naturally there was no chakra. Tsunade pinched Luhan's wrist and didn't move. How? Jiraiya couldn't help asking. Tsunade let go of Luhan's wrist and stared into Luhan's eyes. You won. Detoxification success. Tsunade didn't find any poison residues in Luhan's body, so it was difficult for her to question anymore, because even if she could resolve the two poisons with her own strength, the poison residues couldn't be removed so quickly. It is eliminated from the body by means of perspiration or excretion by accelerating metabolism. This is a recipe for detoxification. Luhan had long known that this would be the outcome. With a triumphant expression on his face, while speaking, he took out a piece of paper from his arms and handed it to Tsunade. Antidote formula. There are as many as 39 kinds of natural herbal medicines, 7 of which are natural highly toxic herbal medicines, which are secretly prepared by 12 techniques. Luhan also made a note at the end, reminding him to be careful, this antidote can bring down Jonin. Chio's poison can also bring down Jonin. Only elite Jonin can suppress it, and cooperate with medical ninjas to detoxify, but Jonin can't. At present, the ninjas of the second Konoha Corps who have been poisoned are mostly Gen and Chunin, a few are Jonin, and there is no elite Jonin. Although the advanced combat power of the second Corps has not been greatly damaged, the high-level ninjas are few after all. Logistics. In the afternoon, there was a small wooden house with very few furnishings and a pot of tea on the square table. Luhan and Tsunade sat opposite each other. The detoxification formula has been sent out, and it will be delivered to the 2nd Legion station in a short time. The medical ninja over there will prepare the poisonous antidote, and here, there are other medical ninjas who are responsible for preparing more poisonous antidote. Come to detoxify those poisoned ninjas used for research. Tsunade is only in charge of researching the antidote, and the others do not need to be personally involved. However, today's antidote was not researched by her. I'm sorry, you made me understand that there are people who are outside the world and there are heavens outside the world. I shouldn't despise you. Tsunade poured tea for Luhan himself, showing enough apology, she can be considered to be able to put it down, not because she was slapped in the face and annoyed. You, welcome, haha, as long as Lord Tsunade remembers our agreement. Luhan smiled. A bit mean. Naturally remember. Tsunade also poured himself a cup of tea, raised his eyes to look at Luhan. If you have any conditions, just mention it, as long as it is reasonable. Conditions. Luhan dragged a long tone, slowly brought the teacup to his mouth, and drank slowly, his eyes always looking at Tsunade. It was an aggressive look that made Tsunade extremely uncomfortable. Tsunade was annoyed, but had to keep her anger down. She knew that the bastard samurai in front of her was a geek who could crack high-level poisons in a way that would help Konoha a lot. Bang! The table suddenly shook, and Tsunade took out a dice clock from nowhere and slapped it on the table. Betting. Tsunade raised his eyebrows provocatively at Luhan. PFF'd. Luhan spit out all the tea he just drank. What time is this? What is this occasion? Bet. How big is your gambling addiction? Ahem, I'm sorry. Luhan quickly wiped someone on the table with his sleeve, and then asked, Master Tsunade's reputation for gambling is honored as the legendary Big White Sheep, and it really lives up to his reputation. There are thorns in the words. Gamble or not? Tsunade asked again, unmoved. Bet what? Betting on that condition, or asking, if I beat me, you're not allowed to make any more conditions to Konoha. What if you lose? If you lose, I'll give you money, 1,000,000 taels. Aren't you going to be mad? Stop talking nonsense and gamble or not. Betting, why not betting? Come. Luhan responded quickly. Tsunade must lose. Every gamble is not as simple as rumors, but the original setting. This guy has bad luck. Clap Lala. Tsunade rolls the dice first. The rules are very simple. Compare the size. 3-6 are the largest. 3-1 is the smallest. There is no such thing as a leopard. The winner is determined in one round. Snapped. The dice clock slammed on the table again. Tsunade stared at Luhan, slowly opened the lid, and then her face became extremely ugly. 1, 2, 2, 5 in total. With a very small number of points, Luhan's chances of winning are too big. Do I still use the shake? Luhan was also a little surprised, and then laughed. Tsunade's gambling luck is really not bad. I'll never admit defeat. Tsunade's face was already dark. Okay, then I'll convince you. Luhan grinned, closed the lid, picked up the dice clock, shook it 2 or 3 times, and put it back. Tsunade is a pure gambler and disdains cheating, while Luhan doesn't want to cheat at all, so neither of them used chakra to interfere with the dice. Open. Luhan opened the lid with a smile, and then his smile froze, showing an expression like he was about to vomit blood. 1 point, 1 point, 2 points, 4 points in total. Tsunade wins. Chapter 0500 It's harvest season again. Luhan was completely stunned. What is this luck? This is the bad luck that can only be obtained by deceiving the widow's feelings in the past life. Tsunade rolls the dice first. She has already rolled out a very small number. Luhan thought he was winning. Tsunade is famous for losing every time he gambles, but Luhan is not. Tsunade was also very stunned. He was stunned for a while, and then he burst out laughing wildly. Ha ha ha, ha 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 ha, I won, ha ha ha, I won. Tsunade laughed like a psychopath, because she hadn't won for a long time. She knew she had bad luck in gambling, but she kept expecting treat people with worse gambling luck than yourself. It seems to have come across. Fuck. Luhan suddenly understood something, stood up abruptly, stared at the dice on the table and squinted slightly, then dodged and disappeared in place. Tsunade could no longer feel Luhan's breath. Huh. Tsunade was stunned for a moment, then blinked softly and muttered, "You can actually know ninjutsu, even though it's only a low-level ninjutsu. This samurai, I really don't know where Orochimaru met. Forget it, just leave, and follow. What does it have to do with me? Such a bad character, I really don't want to see him again." Tsunade immediately put Gui Jonsho behind him, and had already won back that request, so naturally he had nothing to do with it. Outside the mountain where the secret stronghold is located, there are vast mountains and forests. This is a deep mountain, inaccessible to people, and there are often beasts, many of which are powerful ninja beasts, so almost no ordinary people come here. Even ninjas, Chunin genin, have to come in groups. It's not that I have bad luck, it's not me, it's Tsunade. Her luck has gotten stronger. According to the original book, she will be better at gambling before she encounters danger, or her relatives. Naoki is still going to school in Konoha. No, there is danger. Luhan appeared in the forest, flickering and moving again and again, chanting words in his mouth. Reason why he left in such a hurry is because he thinks Tsunade is about to be in danger, and since Tsunade has no plan to leave here in the short term, it can be judged that danger will come to him. That's why Luhan left. He searched early, looking for what would bring danger to Tsunade. Tsunade's strength has crossed the threshold of cage level. Plus Jiraiya, Orochimaru, who can bring danger to Tsunade. Luhan already had an idea, but he wasn't sure yet. The insight map was fully open, covering a 10-kilometer radius. Searching for this kind of thing couldn't be easier for Lu Han. 2 minutes after he left the call, he found the target. The insight map showed that the big Yuhi point was the scout puppet of the Sunagakur puppet army. Level 30 gold boss, Suzuki Edge. Near the Suzuki side, there are 5 or 6 Yuhi spots, which are basically Sunagakur ninjas. Sure enough, it's Sunagakur. When they come here, once they discover the secret stronghold in the mountains, they will bring danger to Tsunade. Lu Han's previous thoughts were confirmed. He didn't think why Sunagakur appeared here, because there are too many possibilities. Sex, passing by. Scouting in Konoha's second control zone. What are they interested in this mountain? Dodge the chase. It is possible. The reason is no longer important, because Lu Han intends to kill them. Puppet masters. They are all puppet masters. Ha ha ha, you can't kill them directly, you have to be slow, so that they have a chance to summon the puppets, and I can get the psychic badge. The more Lu Han thought about it, the more excited he became. Super elite Jonin. Lu Han will not be so excited, he doesn't feel it when he kills, and the explosion rate is low without the first kill, but the puppet master is different. As long as the puppet can be summoned, no matter whether there is a first kill, Lu Han can get the pass by killing. Spirit badge. At present, he has a total of 76 psychic badges, of which 15 were obtained before, 61 were obtained by the puppet who killed Itoi's group last time, and the 20 puppets contributed 61 to Lu Han. The psychic badge has a very low explosion rate. In fact, if you really want to count it, the low explosion rate of non-first kills is outrageous. But what does it matter? Lu Han didn't take any risk in killing them, just like cutting melons and vegetables. It's harvest season. Suzuki is a very experienced task-oriented puppet master in Sunagakur village, and his pure reconnaissance ability is not inferior to that of the scout Jonin of the same level. He also has puppet support. The vast mountains and forests are filled with fog, and the fog is very light, but it also makes it impossible for people to see far. Damn it, it's been 2 days since the fog cleared up. Suzuki ran at the front, followed by several Sunagakur Chunin puppet masters. For the black-clothed warriors, their scout squadron, which was temporarily dispatched, formulated a comprehensive blockade and search plan, and divided them into small groups. First, the area in the deep mountains was briefly blocked, and then they approached the center synchronously, but the fog in the deep Yamanaka gave them the search made it difficult, and they didn't dare to use ninjutsu to clear the fog, which might be seen by the black-robed warrior who didn't know where to hide. Who are you? What are you doing here? Suddenly, there was a sound, and at the same time, a samurai dressed in black slowly walked out of the fog. The faces of the few people beside Suzuki changed drastically, almost subconsciously posing in a battle formation, and cut their palms, hands seal psychic. Bang, 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 bang. Total of 7 Chunin, and a total of 18 puppets have been summoned. The weakest is the level 28 Abyss boss, and the strongest is the level 38 Lord boss. Nice job, said the warrior in black, grinning. The figure suddenly disappeared. Knife light up. The blood is spreading. An hour later, in the northwest of the call, it was still in the mountains and forests. Lu Han breathed out flames, burning all the puppet fragments and ninja corpses that were thrown together to ashes. This was the 6th Sunagakur puppet squad he had cleared, and the last one around here. These 6 Sunagakur squads were just enough to form a ninja squadron, and it was an elite squadron led by 6 Jonin. Get it done. After cleaning up the battlefield, Lu Han stood on the tree with a satisfied smile. Great harvest. Today, he killed a total of 91 puppets. Although they were a group of rubbish with weak strength, they contributed 182 psychic medals to Lu Han. A day later, Lu Han will have the opportunity to enter the subversive space again, and at this time the number of his psychic badges has reached 258. Chapter 0501-Endless Desire. What is the concept of 258? If it is 258 ingots, it is enough to exchange for the excellent S-level forbidden technique. Although the psychic badge is different from the ingot, the exchange rules should be similar, so at least it can be exchanged for a self-conscious puppet with super elite strength, right? Although it is difficult for the ultra-elite to bring much help to the current Lu Han in battle, you must know that puppets are useful for more than just fighting. What Lu Han can exchange is not just a fighting puppet. It's really exciting, he murmured excitedly. Lu Han disappeared into the forest. In a mountain pass, at the entrance to the secret stronghold. Konoha Chunin who were hiding in the dark did not show up. They already knew that this person was familiar with Tsunade and other 3 adults. Damn it, why hasn't the new round of war started yet? I can't sneak into the puppet army and kill people, right? It doesn't seem impossible, but if there is an assassination, the other party won't have time to summon the puppet. Lu Han's heart was broken as he walked. Read. People's desires are endless, and suddenly he is a little dissatisfied. If more than 200 psychic badges can be exchanged for super elite puppets, what about 600? How about 1,000? This is not a dream. Because Lu Han is strong enough now, as long as there are enough opponents, there is no problem in killing them. In comparison, ingots are more difficult to obtain, because Lu Han is killing low-level ninjas now, and the explosion rate of ingots is outrageously low. Call. Lu Han was walking forward, and Orochimaru appeared 4 or 5 meters in front of Lu Han out of thin air. Are you guarding the door? Lu Han said casually, greeting Orochimaru. Why did you scold me? Orochimaru frowned, which made Lu Han stop. What scolds you? You told Jiraiya that Orochimaru is an asshole. Lu Han was suddenly choked, and he was a little embarrassed. In fact, he was just dealing with Jiraiya casually, and he didn't think it would reach Orochimaru's ears. Orochimaru's character usually ignores such words. There are many ninjas who scold Orochimaru in Konoha privately. Orochimaru has an unpleasant personality and has done many killings of innocent people. He is often referred to as Konoha scum and butcher. What's wrong with you? Why do you care about this kind of thing with me? Lu Han asked cheekily. Jiraiya once asked you, although I don't know why you want to hide your identity, but I did it for you. Oh, thank you. In fact, it doesn't mean anything else, you can take it as a joke. You understand poison? Slightly understand. Is there any controlled corpse resurrection, or a controlled poison similar to this effect? You read too many novels. It just doesn't mean anything. Lu Han is helpless, he already understands the reason why Orochimaru came to find fault. This guy first let Lu Han justify his losses, but also seems to give Lu Han a favor. The purpose is his last problem, he wants to get corpse control poison from Han Guang. Relying on the original work to analyze, this guy has probably started to study immortality, or the ability similar to immortality. It is obviously a research direction to make the corpse survive. I have to admit that this guy is in this aspect. He is a genius. Just because Lu Han used the method of fighting poison with poison, he came to ask for medicine. I guess he thought that Lu Han had done human experiments. It's alright. After getting a clear answer from Lu Han, Orochimaru didn't bother and was about to leave. Wait a minute, Lu Han hurriedly said, I just went out because some Sunagaku ninjas came near here. They are not very strong and have been dealt with by me, but I can't be completely sure that this place is still safe. Yeah, Orochimaru responded with a nasal voice and disappeared. Well, your sister. It's over. Lu Han was powerless to complain about Orochimaru's attitude, but he couldn't say that Orochimaru was wrong. He couldn't immediately move the fortunately established stronghold just because there were some small shrimps nearby. In that case, all the secret strongholds are useless. Just send some ninjas to walk around at will, without looking. They will definitely appear near a secret stronghold unintentionally, and they can scare the enemy away without finding it. And the secret stronghold in this call is not an ordinary stronghold. Orochimaru personally arranged enough killing traps and alarm traps around the stronghold. He is too strong for Hangguang to come in safely, and with Horaishan, others can't. Dusk, at the northern foot of the mountain, at the foot of the mountain. A figure appeared on a stone by the lake without warning, a luxurious puppet master robe swaying in the wind, but his elegant face was cold with cold eyes. Ito Teru, here he is. Spiritual. Ito Teru jumped off the stone and immediately cut his palm, and pressed one hand to the ground. The curse spread, white smoke rose, and a black crow psychic puppet more than 20 centimeters long appeared. This is a very special kind of puppet, similar to a human corpse puppet, but made of the corpse of a crow psychic beast. The level has reached the special level, and the cost is extremely high. Although it has no combat power, it can be used for reconnaissance. Clap Lala. The crow puppet flew high into the sky, and after reaching a height of 1,000 meters, it flew into the depths of the forest. Ito Teru took out a small ball similar to a crystal ball from his arms. It displayed a high-altitude bird's-eye view. The picture came from the visual sharing of the crow puppet. The picture was extremely clear. However, the puppet crow could not be too far from the crystal ball. Away, otherwise the visual sharing will be broken. HMPH, black-clothed samurai. Ito Teru snorted coldly, full of murderous intent, and with a shock, disappeared in place. The puppet crow is in charge of aerial investigation, and Ito Teru is in charge of ground investigation. Both are extremely fast, and it does not take long to search the mountain. After half an hour, deep in the forest, there is a clearing with burn marks. Ito appeared out of thin air, looked at the trace, sniffed the smell in the air again, and grinned strangely, the smell of burning puppets. Over the years, Sunagakur didn't know how many puppets were damaged, and some of them lost their maintenance value. Burnt processing, this taste, Ito Teru is very familiar. Ito Teru knew that his own people died here, but he laughed. Because he knew that the murderer was probably the samurai who knew ninjutsu. He is nearby. Chapter 0502 Is it over yet? Secret stronghold, in the wooden house. Damn, why is this? Why, asshole, are you cheating? Tsunade looked very irritable. She had already lost Yuhi's eyes, and the dice had already smashed too, and there was no third dice, so he was playing bridge with Luhan, the kind that can be raised. After Luhan came back in the afternoon, he naturally found Tsunade as soon as possible. Originally, he wanted to confess his identity to Tsunade as soon as possible, but Tsunade said a lot of thorny things, which made Luhan change his mind. He challenged Tsunade. Naturally it's a gamble. The first round, Luhan won the lost request back, which proved that the crisis was indeed lifted. After that, he won several Tsunade consecutively. Due to the huge stake, Tsunade was smashing 2 dice bells. Later, he proposed to change the way of playing, and Luhan naturally agreed. Playing bridge is a skillful gambling method. It's not purely luck like rolling a dice bell. Tsunade is a veteran of the casino and thinks she is very skilled. But she is too unlucky, and she still loses more and wins less. Tsunade didn't win every time. Although she is called a big Aries, if she has no chance to win at all, how can she be obsessed with gambling money? She won, gave her hope, and she would go on gambling. When Tsunade's gambling luck is bad, she wins and loses almost half the number of times she plays bridge, but for the half she wins, the wins are small money, and the losses are big money. Overall, a terrible loss. Tsunade has lost 7 million taels to Luhan. She definitely won't carry so much money with her when she goes out. Some of the money was borrowed from Jiraiya, a well-known local tyrant. At this time, Jiraiya was standing at the table with a bitter face and was about to cry. Tsunade counted the money naturally. It doesn't hurt, but if he loses with his money, Tsunade is notorious for not paying back his money. In the new round, Tsunade is dealt. After Luhan picked up the card, he subconsciously frowned. This card is really bad, and he only caught 2 or 3 times in the afternoon. Looking at Tsunade again, Tsunade who lost Yuhi's eyes was expressionless, which made people can't see how the cards are drawn. You must be a good card. I don't want it. Luhan threw the card and pushed the bottom money to Tsunade. Are you able to see through? Take a peek at my cards. Tsunade suddenly became angry and threw his cards on the table, which made her cards very good, but Luhan lost her cards and she only won the bottom one. Wanliang, with this winning method, it is impossible for her to win back the 7 million taels she lost. Do I still need to peek? Every time you play a good card, you will tell me with an expressionless face that you are afraid that people will know. Luhan said slowly. Is that so? Tsunade suddenly became very panicked. She was very concerned about gambling. Of course, if you don't believe me, ask Lord Jiraiya. Luhan said. That's it. Jiraiya said immediately, looking at Tsunade. Forget it, stop playing, you've been seen through. Jiraiya's heart was bleeding, and he didn't expect Tsunade to win back all the money. He wants to stop loss. Why don't you play? Keep going. My luck has just gotten better. I not only want to win back the money, but also the request. Tsunade is the kind of person who doesn't give up without losing all his money. Naturally it is impossible at this time give up. In the new round, the winner Tsunade was dealt. After picking up the cards, Luhan frowned again. Although the cards this time were better than the last time, they were still considered poor cards. Looking at Tsunade again, he also had a frowning expression, as if the cards were not good either. Raise. Luhan threw money on the table and immediately drew an extra card. Follow. Tsunade also threw money on the table and grabbed one more. In this round, the two of them played for 10 minutes. The rules were to raise and draw first, and then play cards. As a result, Tsunade won. Tsunade's cards are indeed not very good, but she is better than Luhan, so she won. Come again. Deal. In another round, after 10 minutes, Tsunade won again. Luhan's hand was very good, but Tsunade was even better. Come again. Another game. This game Luhan's cards are super good. He played for 10 minutes, but he lost. Still Tsunade wins. Luhan's face changed. 30 minutes, 3 hands, Tsunade wins all. A full win back 1.4 million taels. If the first 2 rounds can be explained as the fact that Luhan's cards were not good, then the last round can't be explained. Luhan's cards are super good, and the good cards are in his hand. Tsunade's cards are naturally worse, but she win. This is definitely not a question of card skills. This guy is going to win. In danger. Yo, your face is ugly, ha ha ha, I warn you, don't run away when you win. Tsunade said with a smile. Luhan ignored Tsunade, but immediately opened the insight map, but within 10 kilometers, he did not find Yuhi's point. No, there must be something wrong. Luhan suddenly stood up. Don't run. Tsunade followed and stood up. Luhan raised his eyes and looked at Tsunade, and with a flick of his hand, he pushed up all the money tickets on the corner of the table, and said in a low voice, "These are the ones I just won against you, almost 6 million taels. We draw cards to compare the size of the cards, and the game is decided. Win or lose. If I win and you don't have enough money for me, you can owe it first." Tsunade was a little annoyed when Luhan said that the winner would be determined by 6 million rounds. She was winning a game of cards, so naturally she didn't want to change her way of playing, but when she heard Luhan said that she could owe first if she lost, she immediately smiled. Jiraiya has already looked at Luhan with a look of madness. How dare you tell Tsunade that you owe it first? Tsunade has creditors all over the world. Is she the kind of person who will pay back the money? Gamble or not? Luhan's voice deepened. Of course. Tsunade agreed. Luhan immediately drew a folded card from the deck, as did Tsunade. The two opened the cards one after another. Tsunade, 2 o'clock. Luhan, 1 point. Tsunade wins again. It's all mine. Ha 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 ha. Mine. Ha 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 ha. Tsunade was a little too excited and threw himself on the money ticket. Luhan's face was ugly. Dangerous again. Is it over yet? Open the insight map again. The maximum range. This time, Luhan sees a difference. It is a big Yuhi point. The Land of Winds Special Investigator Puppet. Level 23 Demon King Boss, Black Crow. Sure enough, the enemy came. Luhan was about to leave. Etc. Devil Boss. Level 23. Chapter 0503 Demon King Boss. Level 23 Demon King Boss. Puppet. Luhan was stunned for a moment, then stayed for a while, and then he became uncontrollably excited because he thought of a word, Special Boss. Before, the elves introduced to Luhan the 3 levels of non-human bosses, Abyss, Hell, and Lord, which correspond to the 3 levels of human bosses, Bronze, White, Silver, and Gold. The elves have never mentioned special bosses before. There seemed to be some restrictions. He couldn't take the initiative to tell Luhan, just like the elf didn't mention the diamond boss with Luhan at the beginning, until the diamond boss appeared later. Luhan asked, and the elf said, Spirit, is it a special boss? Isn't it? Level 23 Demon King Boss. It's a special boss. Level 20 tier, corresponding to level 25 Diamond Boss, right? Not all, different species, there are some differences in level judgment, but the positioning is the same, all are special bosses of the 20th level. So, can you explain in detail? For example, why is it level 23? The level becomes lower, and what about the explosion rate? The reason why the level will be lowered is because the fighting ability of the Demon King boss is not as good as that of the Lord boss, and it can't even be compared with the Abyss. The specific reason is that the puppet is man-made, different from humans. Although the puppet's ability configuration is controllable, but there are limitations. As long as human beings have enough talent, they can grow indefinitely, or they can grow in a certain way, but puppets can't. On the one hand, the increase must be weakened on the other hand, and if they increase at the same time, they will enter a new level. Quote. The level 23 Demon King boss, in simple terms, it is at least comparable to the level 48 puppet boss in certain aspects, but due to the limitations of the puppet itself, it has increased certain abilities and increased configuration in aspects. It is necessary to reduce the configuration in other aspects, and the level is still maintained at the 20th level. I understand. Luhan interjected, your awareness is that maintaining a level, one aspect is extremely prominent, and other aspects will be weakened accordingly, and combat effectiveness is the basis of rating, and the improvement of non-combat effectiveness will inevitably lead to a corresponding increase in combat effectiveness. Weakened, so the level was lowered, right? Yes, puppets are man-made after all, and human beings are not the real creators and cannot create perfect products. Completely understand, Luhan replied, and immediately asked, what about the explosion rate? 10 times. Okay, is there something else? Like something like a diamond badge? There are special drops, and a specific subversive 3665 must be obtained first before I can give a corresponding explanation. I totally understand. Luhan's hands trembled with excitement. In fact, what he most expects is not the 10-fold explosion rate. After all, it's only a 20th level boss, and the 10 times the explosion rate is equivalent to killing a few more intermediate level puppets. What really excites Luhan is the special drop that I don't know what it is. How much is a diamond badge worth? The special drops of the 23-level Demon King boss will never be worse than the diamond badge in terms of functionality. ... Since Luhan lost, he seemed to be stunned and stood there motionless. Tsunade had happily collected all the money and returned all the money he borrowed to Jiraiya. Luhan still didn't move. Although he communicated with the elves very quickly in his consciousness, it took more time to consider the process of asking questions. Hey, isn't it? Are you stupid when you lose money? What's your hand shaking? Are you stupid or excited? Don't hold back, cry if you want, I don't laugh at you. He laughed irritably. I have something to do, I'll be back later. Luhan dropped his voice and disappeared directly in place. Ha, developed and developed. Sigh, something seems to be wrong. Tsunade sat back in the chair and smiled, as if thinking of something, shut up and blinked, and then cursed out. Bastard. I didn't win his money at all. I just won all that I lost to him before, and he didn't even pay for it. Asshole. Asshole. I haven't won that condition back. Tsunade got angry. Stomping, gamblers, all care about this kind of thing. He said he would come back. I'll go first. Jiraiya said quickly, kicking the money back from Tsunade and leaving. He didn't want to stay here any longer. He had to find a place to avoid the limelight, or else Tsunade would lose again in a while, and he would definitely borrow money from him. Call. At this moment, Lu Han, who had just left, actually came back and appeared out of thin air using the basic telekinesis technique. So soon. Come, let's continue. Tsunade didn't notice that Lu Han's face was ugly. We're in trouble, there is a strong guy nearby, approaching here. Lu Han said solemnly. Strong guy, how dare you? Tsunade was not worried at all. It wasn't that she was too big, but she was really strong. Jiraiya and Orochimaru were even more powerful. The three of them were here, who wouldn't dare to come over. Looking for trouble. Besides, a guy who is strong for Guijansho may be weak for Tsunade. Tsunade didn't know the strength of Kikansho. You know this person, Lu Han said again. Who is it? Shito Ito. The room fell silent, and Tsunade and Jiraiya's expressions froze. Of course they know who Ito Teru is, and Lu Han naturally also knows, the chief puppet master of the Sunagaku puppet army. The strength is terrifying. There is a person in Konoha who is very suitable for comparison with him. They are all ninjas who rely on foreign objects to fight. Lu Han had just left Konoha and had not completely left the stronghold range. A new situation appeared on the Insight map. 9 Yuhi points entered the range of the Insight map, and the position of the big Yuhi point was replaced. The chief puppet master of the Sunagaku puppet army, level 60 white silver boss, Terry Ito. It's a level 60 white silver. Deeply aware of how terrifying it is to be judged to be a level 60 white silver, because he has fought against enemies of this level. Chapter 0504-Bad Luck. The air seemed to freeze. Eli Zhao is one of the most powerful people in the world. The existence of Sunagaku village ranks in the top 5, maybe even in the top 3. Its own strength is very terrible. And what is even more terrible is the puppet he manipulates, hawing 8 people. 8 extremely powerful puppets are the pinnacles of Sunagaku Village's ancestor puppet master, Menzuo Sakura. It is worth mentioning that Menzuo Ying's husband is the most famous puppet maker in the history of Sunagaku Village. Named Menziman, and its pinnacle is the legendary, Komatsu 10 people, currently the master is in the hands of Chiyo. Are you sure it's Eli's photo? Tsunade asked in surprise. Of course, time is running out. In 1 minute, he may discover the trap set by Orochimaru. In 3 minutes at most, he will come here. Lu Han continued. Let's get out of here. With our strength, it is very dangerous to play against Eli Zhao. Jiraiya made a decisive decision. No, Tsunade rejected immediately. Looking at Jiraiya, we can go, what about the Konoha ninjas here? Eli Zhao is not a soft-hearted person. Tsunade. Jiraiya shouted, your mission is to develop poison. There is no mission about Eli's photo. No matter what happens today, it's not our responsibility, understand? I don't understand, Tsunade said firmly. I'm going to call Orochimaru. I have to leave immediately, there's no time. Jiraiya knew that it was difficult to convince Tsunade, but with Orochimaru, it was different. In the past, when the 3 of them encountered such a big difference, they all voted. Whoever gets the majority of support, listens to whoever. That, Jiraiya disappeared into the room. While Tsunade and Jiraiya were arguing, Lu Han did not move or say a word. He was observing the 9 figures such as Eli Zhao on the Insight map, as well as the movement trajectory of the level 23 demon boss. Eli Zhao was this enemy. If Lu Han with all his strength, he may not lose, including Mangekyo Sharingan, Shikatsumyaku Dead Bone Pulse, Horaishin and other abilities, but the problem is that he cannot reveal his identity in the Land of Rain. This is related to Hanzo's plan to assassinate Daimyo. It's too dangerous to fight Eli Zhao without using all of his strength, but if you add the Tsunade 3, you won't necessarily lose. Therefore, it doesn't matter to Lu Han whether to shoot Eli's photo or not, but that bird. Lu Han really wants to kill it. Call. Jiraiya walked fast and came back fast, and it was Orochimaru who appeared out of nowhere with him. Vote. Jiraiya said decisively. I don't agree to be in contact with Eli Zhao and I have to leave immediately. Objection. Tsunade said immediately, we can't give up the ninjas here, as long as we temporarily stop Eli Zhao and send someone to notify, it won't take long for the ninjas from the base camp to come over. Orochimaru, how about you? Jiraiya looked at Orochimaru. Orochimaru has always been a very decisive person, killing people and doing things the same way, but this time, he hesitated unexpectedly. After pondering for a few seconds, he even looked up at the black-clothed warrior who was, in a daze. What do you think? Orochimaru asked. This guy is a pure militant. In fact, he really wanted to fight, but his opponent was too strong. He added Tsunade and Jiraiya, and it was too dangerous to fight against Eli Zhao, but it would be different if he added Han Guang. Orochimaru's current thoughts are also very clear. If Han Guang says to fight, he will fight. If Han Guang says not to fight, if it is too dangerous, he will withdraw. As for the life and death of the Konoha ninja in this camp, it is not within Orochimaru's consideration. Lu Han raised his head and glanced at the three of them. It would be best if he could be killed. I agree with Tsunade, Orochimaru said immediately. Okay. Tsunade clapped his hand on the table and gave Orochimaru a positive look, and his gaze towards Lu Han became much softer. Jiraiya looked at Orochimaru in disbelief. He knew that Orochimaru was belligerent, but he also understood that Orochimaru would not die. If the enemy is too strong, there is no chance of winning, Orochimaru will definitely retreat. Worry. Orochimaru, this guy is not a Konoha ninja. Even if he has some strength, if he escapes, he will kill us all. Jiraiya roared. Shut up. Tsunade roared in a louder voice before Orochimaru could say anything. I know that this battle is a good thing. You don't want any of us to fail, but this battle we must fight. In the vast mountains and forests, the valley surrounded by semicircular mountain walls was already in sight. Eli Zhao led Hu Ying's group of 8 people to run wildly, and suddenly stopped after turning over a hillside. Konoha. Eli squinted slightly at the crystal ball in his hand. The picture on the crystal ball is visually shared with the puppet crow. At this time, it shows the deepest picture of the mountain. That is some Konoha ninja hidden in the trees. Bags, it seems to be evacuated from the call. Secret stronghold. Could it be that the warrior in black has anything to do with Konoha? Eli Zhao muttered, and suddenly the storm turned into a glimpse, followed by the 8 puppets, and 9 figures joined in the dense forest. After a while, Eli Zhao stopped abruptly again. He had just entered the middle of the mountain and only traveled 1 kilometer. At this time, there was a small open space in front of him. There were 4 people blocking the road in the open space and standing in a row. Tsunade, Jiraiya, Orochimaru, Black Samurai. What are you doing here? Tsunade spoke first, staring blankly at Eli Zhao. Eli Zhao was very surprised. He didn't expect to meet 3 of Konoha's most talented people here, and he didn't expect that the Black Warriors would mix with them. You guys. Eli Zhao glanced at him, and then burst into laughter. Ha 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 ha. Good. What a surprise. Ha 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 ha. Eli Zhao smiled very happily, and the killing intent in his eyes was real. Today, he doesn't just want to avenge his son, and kill 3 of the most talented threats of Konoha's younger generation. Tsunade, Jiraiya, Orochimaru, the direct disciple of Hokage Sarutobi Hiruzen, all have terrifying talents, but all are still growing. If the 3 of them can be killed together today, it will definitely be a sensation in the ninja world. Chapter 0505 _ Chase or not. This is going to be developed. Hey! Lu Han appeared in front of Eli Zhao as a warrior in black. While Eli was laughing wildly, he was observing Eli Zhao and the puppets behind him. 2 level 68 Abyss bosses and 6 level 58 Lord bosses. If converted into the strength of ninjas, these 8 puppets are 2 cage level puppets, and 6 super elite Jonin puppets that are extremely close to cage level. Of course, it can't be such a simple analogy. Humans know how to use strategy and have a strong sense of autonomy, and puppets are made by humans. Even if their combat effectiveness is amazing, they may be deceived by human strategies. When calculating ninja ability, strategy ability is also among them. It has a lot to do with its previous record, and the puppet can only fight. Another point is that the puppet must be manipulated to exert its power. I am afraid it is the simplest order. At least there must be an order. Without an order, the puppet can't think. Therefore, these 8 puppets are indeed very strong, and fighting with each other can explode their combat power, but after all, they are just tools. If they have weaknesses, then the biggest weakness is Eli Zhao. Of course, because Eli Zhao is too strong, this weakness is not considered a weakness in many cases. If you don't want to lose both sides, you'd better leave here. At most half an hour, other Konoha ninjas will come here, and then you won't be able to leave. Tsunade said with a blank face, and the words were very timid. But she had to say, because it was too dangerous to fight. Ha 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 ha, childish. Eli Zhao smiled, his face sank again, and his expression became fierce and terrifying. Today, you are all going to die here. Especially you. I came to kill you, but I didn't expect you to give it back. An unexpected bonus. Eli raised his finger and landed Han. Fuck. Lu Han was a little confused. What's the situation? Tsunade, Jiraiya, and Orochimaru have all turned their heads to look at Lu Han. He actually caused the trouble. Tsunade looked suspicious. Jiraiya looked annoyed. Orochimaru frowned. Their emotions all changed, but they didn't immediately distance themselves from Lu Han, because Lu Han helped Konoha crack Tsunagaku's poison before. From this point of view, even if this guy is not a Konoha ninja, Tsunade and Jiraiya can't get rid of him, and Orochimaru. He knows who Gui Jancho is. Cold light. Looking at Han Guang's face, he didn't seem to know that he caused the trouble. Quote. You, who are you, Eli Yi? Lu Hanchi asked. He thought of some connections, and Eli's surname was also Eli. My son. Eli Zhao's face became more and more gloomy. My only son, the hope of the rise of my Eli family, he will be the greatest puppet master in the future, but you kill him. Is that so? Lu Han was stunned. Then, let's stop talking nonsense. Boom. As soon as Lu Han's voice fell, the whole person rushed out, and the light of the sword started. There is really no need for nonsense. Lu Han and Eli Zhao have different hatreds, and they can only fight to the death. If faced with a normal level 60 white silver boss, Lu Han would not dare to rush up like this, but Eli Zhao is different. This guy is a puppet master. The biggest weakness of a puppet master is himself. He lacks the experience of fighting alone and has puppets. Auxiliary can exert its full strength. Lu Han moved, and in the next moment, all 3 Tsunade moved. Why is this guy so fast? He hid his strength last time. Eli Zhao was shocked. His hands were not ambiguous, and he swung forward at the same time. Not only did the 8 puppets behind him rush out at the same time, but also the 10 kunai were thrown out by him. The 10 kunai appear to be specially made, thicker, narrower, shorter, and look more like an awl than a kunai. Behind the 10 kunai, all the chakra threads are connected, and on the other side of the threads are the 10 fingers of Eli Zhao. Puppet Technique 100 Touch Performance. Kai, 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 clang clang. Lu Han had already rushed in front of Eli Yi, and 10 cone-shaped kunai struck like 10 black tentacles. Lu Han danced wildly with the sword, knocking the cone-shaped kunai flying again and again, but every kunai was being hit. After flying, they will be pulled by the chakra threads. With a flick of Eli's fingers, Kunai, who is knocked into the air, will attack Lu Han again. Kunai's attack frequency is very fast. Black tentacles, in front of him are full, and the violent attack Lu Han. There are only 10 kunai, but it seems that the number is not clear, and the black shadows are constantly stabbed. Lu Han stabbed frantically, trying to break through Eli Yi's attack in a head-to-head way, but it seemed difficult to do so. At the same time, Tsunade, Jiraiya, Orochimaru Sannin were besieged by puppets. 8 extremely powerful puppets doubled their combat power. It was a melee. Jiraiya, but he is a little constrained. He is good at ninjutsu, especially Kaden Fire-style powerful attack ninjutsu, but Tsunade and Orochimaru are both restrained. Jiraiya dare not use ninjutsu indiscriminately, it is easy to hurt himself. People who Sakura's 8 people are really strong. Tsunade trio who grew up together and cooperated with each other since childhood. The 8 puppets with weak self-awareness actually gained an advantage. Although the advantage was not huge, the puppets were tireless and would not feel tired. The advantage is greater. The 3 Tsunade were pressed and beaten and looked passive, but they seemed to be able to hold on for a long time. Everyone is crowded together. Jiraiya's strength is limited, the opponent is a puppet, and he has restrained some of Orochimaru's forbidden technique. It's not easy to handle. Lu Han, who is crazy, noticed the surrounding situation. Those 3 little guys are so strong. Eli Zhao was extremely surprised. He did not expect that the 3 rising stars, Tsunade, Jiraiya, and Orochimaru, would have such strong strength. Fuck, I'm not playing anymore. The black-clothed warrior Gui Jancho, who was madly shooting out the sword, suddenly shouted loudly, withdrew the sword and retreated, then dodged and disappeared. Run. Eli Zhao was stunned for a moment. Chase. Still not chasing. Chapter 0506 _ He is not a coward. The murderer who killed his only son is running away. If he is allowed to leave like this, he will definitely leave the country of rain immediately and escape far away, and he will have no chance to find him. Eli Zhao hesitated and struggled in his heart. The revenge of his son's murder must be avenged, but if he pursues it, it is hard to say whether Tsunade, Jiraiya, and Orochimaru can be killed, but from Eli Zhao's point of view, saying that he didn't do much good by killing these 3 people, he wasn't an ordinary Sunagaker ninja, he was the chief puppet master of the Sunagaker puppet army with high authority. Did he meritorious deeds? A ninja of his status has never considered meritorious deeds, and for reaching such a height, there is no better reward for him. Damn it, I said this guy is unreliable. Jiraiya's roar sounded from the side, and the black-clothed warrior Gui Jancho ran away, leaving only the 3 of them, extremely dangerous. I didn't expect him to be such a person. Tsunade was also extremely angry, and glanced at Orochimaru after the battle. She hoped that Orochimaru could give an explanation, but she wanted to come to Orochimaru, who was taciturn, and chose silence this time. In fact, Orochimaru can't figure it out. How could Hangguang run away? Hangguang is notoriously not afraid of death. Maybe he was trying to lure Eli Zhao away. Orochimaru thought. He didn't say it. Wouldn't he remind Eli Zhao? It's complicated to say, but all of this happened in a very short period of time. The warrior in black had just escaped, and Eli Zhao's inner struggle was just a thought, and Jiraiya and Tsunade only spoke a word. Humph. I'll kill you first, and then come back to kill these 3 guys. Eli Zhao made a decision. With a flick of his hands, 2 chakras were thrown out and stabbed into the bodies of the 2 ultra-elite Jonin puppets. Immediately after Eli Zhao disappeared, the 2 ultra-elite Jonin puppets also disappeared. Went after Lu Han and took 2 puppets with him. Besieged Tsunade, Jiraiya, and Orochimaru, 2 cage levels, and 4 super-elite Jonin levels. Overall, the strength is not degraded, but after all, they have become weaker. They could still be suppressed before. The Tsunade trio, and now, the Tsunade trio have begun to turn the tide. Eli Zhao ordered the 6 puppets to kill everyone in front of them. In the forest hundreds of meters away, Lu Han stood on a very tall tree, holding Hiraishin Kunai in his hand. He really wanted to lead Eli Zhao to leave, so as to break the deadlock, and he could only show his full strength when there was no one else. In fact, he wasn't sure if Eli Zhao would follow, so he was always ready to rush back. Fortunately, Eli Zhao's thoughts of revenge for his son were more serious than the thoughts of killing Tsunade and the three of them, and he came after him. When he felt Eli Zhao's breath approaching, Lu Han immediately put away her Raishin Kunai, deliberately showed his breath, jumped off the tree and ran wildly. 5 minutes later, Eli Zhao successfully stopped Lu Han. The two sides engaged in a brief close-quarters battle, and Lu Han designed to get rid of Eli Zhao and run away again. 5 minutes later, Eli Zhao caught up again. The two sides fought for a short time again, and Lu Han once again relied on his skills to escape and run again. Lu Han's speed was extremely fast, and Eli Zhao's speed was also extremely terrifying. In this way, the two chased and fled, and soon ran out of the mountain range towards the southern border of the Land of Rain. Lu Han didn't run to a safe place, such as running to the base camp of the Konoha Second Army. Of course, he could escape the danger. As long as he was close enough to the base camp, Eli Zhao would definitely stop chasing him, but Lu Han would not do any good. What Lu Han has to do is to lead Eli Zhao to a place where no one is present. The farther away, the better, and the more desolate the better. When that time comes, he will fight to the death with Eli Zhao. Killing a level 60 white silver boss for the first time is unimaginable. In the blink of an eye, 30 minutes passed. Eli Zhao, who was extremely annoyed by Lu Han's many tricks, suddenly stopped because the black crow in the sky had been following him, and he was not worried that the black warrior would disappear. At this time, he stopped because he thought of something. He was too far away from the 6 puppets, and he had no idea what was going on there. However, he had calculated that when the Konoha ninjas at the Colonel camp were evacuated, the Konoha Second Army base camp would definitely get the news, and then they would send people into the deep Yamanaka. After all, they should have almost arrived at the scene at this time. He had to summon the puppet, or he would definitely be killed by the masters of Konoha's Second Legion. Psychic. Eli quickly hand-sealed, pressing his bloody palm to the ground. Bang! The white smoke rose and dissipated quickly, and there was nothing. Nothing is summoned. Eli Zhao's face changed dramatically, and he exclaimed, "This is impossible." Of the 6 puppets, none came. There is only one possibility, and that is that they are all destroyed. Judging from the time, only Tsunade, Jiraiya, and Orochimaru can destroy them. Eli Zhao couldn't believe that those 3 little devils had such powerful strength. When the strength reaches cage level, it is possible to fight all day and night, and the battle will end in just half an hour. One side must have the strength to crush. How can it be? Those 3 little devils never showed that kind of strength before. Hey, do you still want to kill me? Ha! Are all your 6 puppets dead? Tisk tisk. A mocking voice suddenly appeared in front of him, and Eli Zhao looked up suddenly, only to see that the warrior in black didn't know anything. It's time to come back and stand on a big tree dozens of meters away. Looking for death, Eli Zhao burst into flames. Deep Yamanaka, battlefield. The radius of more than 300 meters has been raised to the ground, the traces of battle can be found everywhere, and puppet fragments are scattered everywhere. Orochimaru stood beside Jiraiya with an expressionless face, watching his surroundings vigilantly. Jiraiya was wounded, his abdomen was torn, and he was bleeding a lot. Tsunade was in front of Jiraiya, his hands glowing green, and he was healing Jiraiya. Jiraiya's injury was nothing but a flesh wound, it just looked scary, and after a while, Jiraiya recovered under Tsunade's treatment. Orochimaru, you should probably explain, what the heck is that cowardly puppet? Was Jiraiya's first words when he opened his eyes. Tsunade also frowned at Orochimaru. He's not a coward, Orochimaru said nonchalantly, he's a cold light. Chapter 0507 Your time has come. Orochimaru said it calmly, as if he was saying something that didn't matter much, but Jiraiya and Tsunade's reaction was great. Jiraiya's eyes widened, her mouth opened as if her jaw had dropped, and she looked at Orochimaru in disbelief. Tsunade was stunned and looked shocked. No, it's impossible. How could Han Guang hide his identity? You must be mistaken. Jiraiya couldn't believe it. Why did Han Guang hide his identity? Even if Captain Anbu has a special status, even if he has a mission, at least he shouldn't hide his identity from Tsunade, right? He didn't hide his identity from me. The first time he appeared in the camp, he revealed his identity to me. As for why he concealed his identity from you, maybe it's a bad taste. The key is you, Tsunade. He concealed his identity from you. There must be a special reason. Orochimaru was hard to say. Special reason. Tsunade didn't seem to recover, as he muttered that his body suddenly trembled. Marry me. Marry me. Tsunade thought of these 3 words. He didn't dare to use his real identity to say this sentence. He was afraid that Tsunade would refuse. Once he refused, the road would be blocked, but if it was another identity, say it in a conditional way. That's why I said, he's not a coward. Hengguang can't be a coward. Orochimaru said indifferently again. He pretended to escape in order to lure Eli Zhao away and help us escape, and he succeeded. Why didn't you say it sooner? Tsunade grabbed Orochimaru's collar, and tears welled up in his eyes in rage. Orochimaru blinked slightly in response. He was a boring gourd and never liked to meddle in his own business. Tsunade, maybe it's too late. We are chasing now. He may not lose to Elijao. He is Master Hiraishin. Jiraiya immediately reacted and patted Tsunade on the shoulder. The words are true, but very weak. Hiraishin is not omnipotent, otherwise the second-generation Hokage Senju Tobirama would not have died. How terrifying Elijao is. He is not here, leaving only 6 puppets, causing great trouble for the 3 Tsunades. Although the 3 Tsunades won in the end, Jiraiya was injured because of it. And more importantly, will Han Guang take the initiative to get rid of Eli Zhao? Will he? Once he takes the initiative to get rid of Eli Zhao will definitely return here, bring death threats to the Tsunade 3, and push back, but Eli Zhao has not come back yet. In other words, Han Guang did not get rid of Elijao. Let's go. Tsunade held back his tears, greeted him, and quickly ran towards the edge of the battlefield. The Tsunade 3 left. A large number of Konoha ninjas appeared in deep Yamanaka, appearing around the battlefield. What about people? What about people? That's a puppet fragment. Master Tsunade and the others. Go back and tell your lord, Tsunade-sama, they are gone. Second team, you go there to find. Third team, there. An hour later, on the southern border of the Land of Rain, dozens of kilometers to the south is the territory of the Kingdom of Chuan. The Kingdom of Chuan is a country with many rivers and canyons. Due to the constraints of terrain and resources, the number of ninjas in this country is very small. All are unfavorable, but the lack of resources has also led to no other forces willing to occupy. The grassland, the breeze is gentle, and the eyes are dry and yellow. It is already winter, although the country of rain never snows and the 4 seasons are not distinct, but affected by the climate, non-evergreen vegetation will also change according to the seasons. Lu Han is still running. Because he was going to use Susanoo was too big and eye-catching and had to find a place that would never be seen by other people. 58 Lord Boss puppets were also beside Eli Zhao. Eli Zhao was about to go crazy, and for an hour and a half, he abruptly failed to catch up with the black-clothed warrior. But he will still follow. He has no room to maneuver. The 6 puppets over there can confirm that they have all been destroyed. There has already been such a loss, which is irreversible. If the warrior in black cannot be killed to avenge his son, Elijao has the heart to commit suicide. Why is this damn bastard so much chakra? Is he really just a samurai? Damn it. Another 20 minutes passed. The 2 had already crossed the border and entered the country of Chuan, and soon entered a canyon. The canyon was more than 100 meters wide, at least several kilometers long, and the mountain walls on both sides were at least 200 meters high. Blocking the light, it was already very dark at this time, and it was going to be dark soon, and it was even darker in the valley. What a great place, Lu Han muttered, then stopped suddenly, took out the big blue bottle of treasures from the space backpack, drank it in one gulp, and then turned to look at Eli Zhao. Lu Han drank the medicine very quickly, and with his back covered, he was not photographed by Eli to see what he had done. Finally, don't you run, huh? Eli Zhao also stopped. He gasped violently. As a puppet master, he really rarely ran long distances at super high speed like this. Guess what I'm trying to say? Lu Han grinned at Eli Zhao. Last words. Eli Zhao stared at Lu Han, and at the same time, he threw 2 chakras back from the palms of his palms, connecting them to the 2 puppets, and he issued a new order. The light was too dim, and the chakras were extremely slender. But Lu Han still saw it. Actually, I want to say. Lu Han smiled even more, his figure suddenly illusory. This moment. He threw his arms up, twisted his waist to send his hips, and hundreds of Hiraishin kunai slammed towards Eli Zhao like a black rain curtain. Only for this, Eli smiled, throwing out the same amount of kunai at almost the same moment, each of which was connected to chakras. Bang, bang bang bang. Kunai collided, splashing all around. Call. Lu Han suddenly appeared beside Eli Zhao, and he shot LV9 Rasengan with both hands at the same time. Eli Zhao was shocked. I meant to say, your death is coming, Lu Han murmured with a smile. Chapter 0508_ Eli's photo as a gift. The light was dim, and Lu Han shot too quickly, so it was impossible for Eli Zhao to immediately notice that those splashing kunai were Hiraishin kunai. Lu Han is used to using some tactics in battle, rather than pure brute force, and this time, the tactics succeeded. Eli Zhao responded quickly, but Lu Han was too close to him and appeared directly beside him. In this case, it would be difficult for him to jump to avoid or use ninjutsu. With his physical strength, LV9 Ultimate Rasengan was enough. He was smashed to pieces. A close call. Eli didn't dodge, and squeezed the seal with a terrified face. Boom. Hit. Countless pieces of the puppet splattered in the canyon. Ding. Congratulations to Subversive 3665 for the first kill of the level 58 Lord Boss. Eli Zhao used an extremely low-level and simple technique to escape Lu Han's mortal blow. It was a substitute technique. At a critical moment, Eli Zhao exchanged positions with his puppet, and Lu Han hit the puppet, not him. Lu Han was not surprised by this. This is one of the life-saving means of the puppet master. The puppet master can be said to be the most skilled person in the world using the substitute technique. Lu Han didn't stop at all. The Rasengan in his right hand smashed the replaced level 58 Lord Boss, turned around quickly, and reached the back of Eli Zhao with the second segment of Shadow Flash. He tried to dodge, but Lu Han moved again, using Hiraishin's technique to appear beside him. Just now, Lu Han threw out hundreds of Hiraishin kunai, which were scattered all over the ground nearby. The terrifying LV9 Ultimate Rasengan goes with you. Terrible critical always follower Eli photo. He is a puppet master. He has powerful attack ability, but he is really not good at fighting. If he changed Boiling You at this time, he would definitely be able to escape Lu Han's Hiraishin and Rasengan's pursuit. That guy has too many crooked skills, but Eli Zhao can't do it. He is far from Boiling You in his single combat strength. The puppet is part of his strength, but now there is only one of the 8 puppets left. Damn. Being caught up again, Eli Zhao let out a hysterical roar, pinching the seal with one hand. Boom. Hit it again, and the puppet fragments are still splashing. Puppet again. Eli Zhao was forced by Lu Han to use the substitute technique again, and also use the other puppet. This is what Lu Han wanted. He just wanted to force Eli Zhao to consume 2 powerful puppets with a substitute technique. Those 2 level 58 Lord Bosses, if they cooperate with each other, their strength should not be underestimated. If they launch joint skills, they will bring a great threat to Lu Han, so the puppet must die first. He succeeded. Eli Zhao also gets out of trouble. After completing the position swap with the second puppet, Eli Zhao didn't dare to stop at all. The whole person turned into a black shadow, jumped, 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 jumped to the stone, jumped to the mountain wall, and bounced to the south continuously. In his breath, he got out of Horaishan's kunai's range, and opened a distance of nearly 100 meters from Luhan. In the valley, 100 meters seemed very far, because the light was very dark, and Eli's photo looked a little small. Psychic Eli 18 Iron Man. Eli's photo didn't stop at all. During the jump, he was in the hand seal. When he landed, he slapped the ground with one hand. The wind suddenly rose, and a spider web spell with a diameter of more than 30 meters appeared on the ground. Immediately, white smoke rose, and 18 the figure of the puppet appeared before and after Eli's photo. He even summoned a puppet again. This is not surprising. A puppet master of his strength will always have spare puppets, and spare puppets are usually puppets that have been eliminated before. Eli Zhao is now a cage-level powerhouse. He can manipulate the 8 of Haozakura, but can he manipulate the 8 of Haozakura during the super elite Jonin period? Obviously not. At that time, he didn't have such a strong control. What he used at that time was Eli 18 Iron Man. This is Eli Zhao's pinnacle work as a puppet maker. He made it himself, hence the name Eli. When he still had 2 puppets left, he didn't even think about using the 18th Iron Man, because he didn't think the black-clothed warrior would bring him much threat, but now, he already knew the horror of the black-clothed warrior, and even more so. Well, this guy is not a samurai at all. It is a new generation of powerhouses who are currently known to all the high-level figures of major powers and powers in Akatsuki's existence. Konoha Anbu Ninja. Cold light. The roar had passed, and the smoke had dissipated. Luhan and Eli looked at each other. This guy is addicted to giving people's heads. Tisk tisk tisk. Luhan forced a smile, and he was so happy that he was about to faint. Hangguang, don't you think it's too unprofessional to hide your identity and kill the weak? Eli said with a blank expression. The weak he said was naturally his son. Luhan didn't listen to what Eli Zhao was saying, and kept observing the 18 puppets. They are all organ puppets, with metallic luster on their bodies, 2 level 58 Lord bosses, 4 level 58 Hell bosses, and 10 level 58 Abyss bosses. 18 in total, all are equivalent to Ultra Elite Jonin. This is a little scary. In terms of overall strength, Eli 18 is no worse than Hu Ying's 8. Therefore, standing in front of Luhan at this time can be regarded as Eli Zhao with peak combat power. Of course, this is the whole point of view. If you look at it separately, the 18th Iron Man of Eli is obviously not as good as the 18 of Hu Ying. Break, and the more scattered, the easier it is to be broken by each. So, Luhan felt that he was about to develop again. Don't speak. Do you regret it? Think I don't have a puppet anymore? Ha! Eli Zhao's eyes flashed with extremely dangerous light. Hengguo. Today you are dead. Do you think so? Luhan smiled, then quickly shook his hand. Another 100 Horaishan kunai shot past. You think I'll make the same mistake twice? Eli shouted. Isn't it? Ha! Luhan laughed again, standing still, his hands clasped together vigorously, and terrifying chakra fluctuations erupted from his whole body. Shikatsumyaku Dead Bone Pulse, Dance of the Early Fern. Chapter 0509_Eli Zhao's last trump card. Luhan hasn't used Shikatsumyaku Dead Bone Pulse ability to fight for a long time. Either the occasion is wrong, or it is not used at all. Today, he finally has a chance again. The overall strength of the Eli 18 Iron Man is very strong, but the strength is too scattered, which is definitely a weakness. When a terrifying aura erupted from Luhan's body, the canyon swayed suddenly, as if for a while, and there was no chance for anyone to react at all. Bone spurs sprang out from the ground, densely packed and numerous, more than 100 meters wide. The 300-meter-long canyon was instantly filled with bone spurs. Eli Zhao let out a frightened voice. His whole body was already soaring into the sky, but his rating reached the 60-level white-silver boss, and it was impossible to kill him in seconds with the Dance of the Ferns. At the same time as Elijao jumped, all the 18 puppets moved. They all had the power of Super Elite Jonin, and their reactions were extremely fast. Along with Elijao, they soared into the sky, but they were much slower than Elijao. This damn terrain! Elijao cursed subconsciously. The terrain restricted the direction of escape for him and the puppet. There were mountain walls on both sides, and the canyon was slender, giving Hangguang the best attack angle. He could only escape upwards. And jumping into the sky will definitely be very dangerous, it is a living target. Etc. Mountain wall. A look of horror flashed across Elijao's face, who was jumping. The white bone forest composed of white bone spurs has already formed below, and Elijao and the 18 puppets have all jumped into the air 100 meters. Dense white bone spurs. It was like two huge pegs placed face to face, staggered and pressed together in an instant. No, Elijao let out a shrill anger, spread out his arms, and a cold and faint light appeared on his hands. Knees chains. While he was spinning, the two chains were also whipping wildly around. Puppet skill. 1000 shadow whip hand. Boom, 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 boom. The roaring and popping sound continued. Everything is complicated, but it actually happened in a very short period of time. Lu Han first used the ground Shikatsumyaku Dead Bone Pulse attack to force Elijao and the 18 puppets to jump up, and then guided Shikatsumyaku Dead Bone Pulse to both sides. Mountain Wall, Burst Attack. This is equivalent to a lore attack. Elijao's response was indeed extremely fast. After all, his strength was there. He launched the puppet technique to continuously blast the white bone spurs that were attacking from all directions. Self-rescue is easy, but in the face of Lu Han's tactical attack, how many puppets can he save without any preparation? Eli's 18 Iron Men, 10 of them were directly smashed into pieces by the white bone spurs that sprang from the mountain walls on both sides. They are humans, but they are completely different from humans. The way they defend and counterattack is beyond the scope of human capabilities. For example, they suddenly open 2 holes in their backs, grow 2 arms, and attack the 4 sides with 4 arms, or launch explosives around them. Overall, a mess. Earthquakes, landslides, explosions. Lu Han just launched the Dance of the Early Ferns, and almost brought a terrible blow to Elijao. In addition to the terrain advantage, the main reason was that the 18 puppets were too powerful. If they were scattered, if it was replaced by the 8 people of Huying, it would be very difficult for Lu Han to kill any of them. At most, they would be in a hurry. You have no chance. Lu Han's voice suddenly appeared near Elijao. He threw hundreds of kunai before launching Shikatsumyaku, Dead Bone Pulse, and after the white bone spur forest appeared, these kunai were scattered. After launching 2 Shikatsumyaku, Dead Bone Pulse, attacks, Lu Han relied on Hiraishin's power appeared directly near Elijao. Hearing Lu Han's voice, Elijao's heart trembled. He didn't have time to think about why Hangguang had Shikatsumyaku, Dead Bone Pulse, and even let go of his anger at this moment, and there was only fear in his heart. Showing too strong strength, this made Elijao have an illusion, wrongly thinking that Hangguang is stronger than himself. Where is Hangguang stronger than him? If Elijao led the Husakura group of 8, it would definitely not be the current situation, but the other 6 of the Huying group were eliminated by the Tsunade 3, including the 2 who had reached cage-level strength. Puppet. Lu Han's estimation in his heart is that he can only win the prosperous Elijao with all his strength and various medicines. At this time, Elijao mistakenly believed that Hangguang was stronger than himself, and his strength was greatly damaged at this time. Compared with the 2, the gap was too large, so he made a decisive decision and opened his last trump card. Kai. Lu Han relied on Hiraishin to appear near Elijao. He came to use Hiraishin to smash a few more puppets, but before he could act, he saw Elijao throw a black kunai with his hand, and then, Elijao was shocked, kicked on a broken bone spur, and rose into the sky again. What? Lu Han felt an inexplicable danger, but before he could understand where the danger was coming from, the kunai that seemed to fly in the air without any threat exploded. Bang! Whoa! The white mist shrouded the canyon in an instant, as if the effect of the Kurigakure technique was general. Fog. As soon as a thought arose in Lu Han's heart, he knew that this was not the fog used to cover and hide, because he heard the prompt tone. Ding! Reminder 3665, you have entered a poison state. It turned out to be poisonous gas. Fuck, the poison is so fierce. Lu Han didn't care at all. His body is very special, and many poisons are useless to him, not to mention this poisonous gas. He was just breathing subconsciously. He inhaled a little, but he didn't expect that his blood volume was dropping down at an extremely stable and rapid frequency. 99%, 98%, 97%, 96%. Lose 1% of HP every second. With Lu Han's current strength and his special qualities, this kind of thing can already be described as incredible. Terrible poison. Chio's poison to Eli's photo. Chapter-101-1 first killed a level 60 white silver boss. Above the canyon. Elijao rushed up like a cannonball, and when the fog erupted, it also enveloped him, but he had already covered his mouth and nose. The poison that Chio gave him was extremely powerful, and this was the only one. Chio was the first. It was prepared by mixing the poison left by the people. The poisons of the predecessors had been used up, so even Chio could not prepare a second dose of this poison. This is the poison that Chio used to save his life, but he gave Eli a photo. The poison is naturally terrifying. But this poison has a disadvantage, that is, it evaporates very quickly, and it can only enter the body through the respiratory tract. Whoa! At the top of the canyon, Elijao rushed out of the white fog and turned over to stand on the top platform of the mountain wall. Humph! Let's see if you die. Elijao sneered, with unforgettable hatred flashing in his eyes. In fact, he understands that this poison may not really kill Han Guang, but at least it can seriously injure Han Guang. At that time, he will be a fish and I will be a knife, and Han Guang will die. Boom, 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 boom. The white poisonous fog below suddenly surged, and there were bursts of roaring sounds. Struggle. Go crazy. No one can save you. Ha 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 ha. Elijao bit Kiba's teeth, and suddenly burst into laughter, able to avenge his son and kill Konoha's terrifying powerhouse Han Guang. Is naturally a pleasant thing. Laughing so happily. A black shadow appeared in the white fog, and a sinister voice sounded along with it, with a little teasing. The person here is Han Guang. He was dressed in black and had the aura of a dragon. There was no sign of being poisoned or injured. Of course Lu Han would not be cured by the poison. He just drank a small blue bottle below as a blood recovery medicine. For Lu Han, the small blue bottle could cure any injury, including poisoning. So, the poison has been solved. The roaring sound from below was not Han Guang's frantic struggle, but he was fighting puppets. Without Elijau's control, those puppets would not be Lu Han's opponents even if they were added together, let alone that they were no match for them at all. Get instructions to cooperate in combat. Break each. All shattered. So far, Eli 18 Iron Man does not exist in the world. Elijao was shocked. Lu Han killed Elijao, and the sword danced wildly. Puppet skill revolving heaven golden hand. Elijao activated the puppet technique again, his hands turned into phantoms, and turned out to block Lu Han's knives again and again with a pair of palms. That's right, Elijau's hands are transformed puppet limbs, and almost all powerful puppet masters will attack themselves. Make minor modifications, such as Chio, and one of Chio's hands is not real. Lu Han madly attacked Eli's photo. In fact, he has a stronger means that he has not come up with, and that is Susano, but he doesn't want to use it anymore. What should I do if I scare Elijao away? Can't give Eli any chance to take pictures. So Lu Han uses the most straightforward means. Holding a knife in his right hand, he violently attacked Elijao, and at the same time, his left hand took out a ring from the space backpack. Tsunade had seen this ring before, so Luhan put it away before. The magic ring. Remember what I said before. You should be damned too. Luhan said in a suppressed voice. At the same time, he triggered the magic in the magic world. At this moment, Luhan's knife couldn't help but stagnate, and there was a buzzing sound in his mind. The feeling of sleepiness and exhaustion invaded his consciousness. This was the aftermath of his consumption of too much mental power. At the same moment, flames erupted from the Wanshu ring. Kaden, fire style, great fire destruction. The flame like an arrow and a gun directly impacted on Eli Zhao. Eli Zhao didn't have time to react at all, because the two were too close, and Luhan was using instant A-level ninjutsu. There was no sign of it. The photo was completely engulfed by the bursting flames. The sky was dark, and the raging flames made the top of the canyon dazzlingly bright, as if day had come. At the same time, north of the canyon, above the wasteland, the three figures were running wildly. It was Tsunade, Jiraiya, and Orochimaru. They were all blessed with special techniques by Orochimaru. Their speed exceeded the previous limit. The trail left a lot of traces, and the two of them would touch each other for a while every other distance, and the guidance was more obvious, so the Tsunade and the three never went the wrong way. Look over there, Jiraiya suddenly yelled while running. There was a mountain on the horizon in the distance, and there was a black gap in the middle of the mountain, which looked like a canyon. At this moment, a dazzling light lit up above the canyon. The distance is too far, so in Tsunade's eyes, the light is not too obvious, but it is a very clear guide. Accelerate. Yuhi's eyes widened. Tsunade couldn't help shouting. Ding! Congratulations to Subversive 3665 for his first kill of a level 60 white silver boss. Above the canyon, the flames dissipated. More than 100 pieces of falling objects turned into a streamer and penetrated into Luhan's body, Eli Zhao. No bones left. 1. After all, winning is so easy. Luhan didn't use Susanoo, but he used the magic ring that cheated. Actually, Eli Zhao shouldn't have been killed so easily, but 6 of Hu Ying's 8 people were not by his side. Luhan is Hiraishin, Shikatsumyaku Dead Bone Pulse, and Instant A-level Kaden Fire Style. This reminded Luhan of Boiling Rain again. Boiling Rain, really a pervert. On the top of the mountain wall, Luhan stood with his sword in his hand, but his body swayed and he was dizzy. Using the magic ring of 10,000 techniques really used up too much of his mental strength, and he wanted to sleep very much now. The A-level ninjutsu of LV1 is like this, what if it is S-level? Luhan thought, struggling to keep his spirits down and looking up at the sky. The black crow is circling high in the sky, and Eli Zhao is dead. This level 23 demon boss doesn't have a high enough sense of independence, and is still executing Eli Zhao's previous instructions, looking for the Black Warrior. So the Black Crow didn't leave, it was still staring at Luhan. Kai. 3 Hiraishin Kunai rushed to the sky in the shape of a character, and Luhan immediately went to the sky, and when he approached the Black Crow, it was a knife. At the same time, Luhan, who was at a high altitude, saw 3 figures running wildly from the southern wasteland. Chapter-101-120 Luhan had good eyesight, and he was at a high place, so he could clearly see who the 3 were running. Then, he fell headfirst. This was 1,000 meters in the sky, even if his bones were hard. Fell down and the flesh rotted. But Luhan didn't adjust, he naturally wouldn't fall to his death, this way of dying was too stupid. How did they find them? Orochimaru must have told me. Luhan thought for a moment and then understood. In fact, he should have understood it immediately, but his mind was chaotic at this time, and he had to think about it before he could understand. It's impossible for the 3 Tsunade to leave without AWOL, and it wouldn't be the 3 of them to go after Elijah, unless Orochimaru said that the Black Warrior is Hangwang. Call. Luhan fell from the sky, and the speed of the fall was getting faster and faster. Affected by the wind, he fell a little off and fell directly into the canyon. The white fog in the canyon has dissipated, and there are still many white bones. These white bone spurs can't last for too long, but the time is still short, so it has not disappeared, and Lu Han can control it. Entering the canyon, Lu Han's body flickered, and a Horizon appeared directly on the ground. With his feet on the ground, the forest-like white bone spurs quickly shrank and disappeared soon. Landslide. Lu Han jumped and dodged continuously. After the landslide was settled, the way in and out of the canyon was blocked, and the battle marks and puppet fragments were also covered up. Elf, the mental energy is too consumed, can the medicine cure it? Lu Han asked in his heart while leaning on the pile of rocks. Yes, but due to the imbalance between Subverter 3665 feet's mental energy and physical energy consumption, this will lead to a weakening of the recovery effect of the potion. The elf replied. In essence, the big blue bottle is a potion that restores both physical and mental energy. Since chakra is transformed by these two energies, it can definitely be used to restore mental energy. However, Lu Han activated the magic ring of 10,000 techniques. Consumption is one way, lack of balance, causing problems. If that's the case, then forget it. It's safe anyway, Lu Han thought. In fact, he was a little reluctant. With his current mental energy, if he wanted to return to a normal state, he would probably use dozens of large blue bottles, unless using the big blue bottle of treasure. I don't want to give it up. After the battle is over, I can save it if I can. There must be no time to count the loot now, and the Tsunade 3 will come right away. Lu Han, who was sitting on the pile of rocks, thought for a while, and suddenly his spirit was shocked. He seemed to think of something. He threw the knife with his hand, raised his hand and rubbed his face, and changed back to his original appearance. The body fell into a pile, and the head tilted, the whole person became extremely sluggish, and the words were still in the mouth. It's over, it's over, it's going to die, it's going to die. Lu Han looked paralyzed. The Tsunade trio rushed into the canyon. Looking at the completely collapsed section in front of him, his expression changed. With the canyon like this, you can imagine how tragic the battle is. Quick, Tsunade urged again. The three jumped forward and climbed up the first rocky slope. After turning over the rocky slope, the three of them saw Lu Han, who was paralyzed. On the rock pile in front of him, Lu Han sitting there, his face was exhausted, his face was pale, and there was a large pool of blood on his clothes. This blood was vomited by Lu Han before he healed the poison. At that time, the effect of the poison exceeded the self-healing effect of his body, and the blood volume has dropped to 70%, he cannot help vomiting blood. Lu Han closed his eyes and looked like he was going to die. Naturally, he is pretending to be miserable, otherwise how can he bring the beauty back? Tsunade saw Lu Han's appearance, his chest heaved violently, and he cried out, Han. Call. When Tsunade's voice reached Lu Han's ears, the Tsunade people also arrived and appeared beside Lu Han in an instant. Jiraiya and Orochimaru didn't follow. They were not medical ninjas and couldn't help, and it was hard to say whether there was any danger here. The three of them cooperated habitually. When Tsunade came to Lu Han's side, they stepped on each other. Going high with the stone, I want to check the vicinity. Opened his eyes, he felt his head sink into a softness. Tsunade hugged Lu Han in his arms and exclaimed excitedly, "How are you?" She is an extremely professional medical ninja. In this case, she asked, if you have no common sense, do you have any questions? Won't check. No treatment. Tsunade just asked, because her mind was messed up. Gang. Tsunade teacher, you're here. Lu Han's mouth trembled, his voice broke. In fact, it's shameless to lie like this, but Lu Han is such a shameless person. Han. Tsunade burst into tears, looking distressed and blamed, sobbing, "Why are you so stupid?" As she spoke, she put a hand on Lu Han's shoulder. She finally, in response, he wanted to check Lu Han's injury. However, Lu Han directly held down that hand and held it in the palm of his hand. Tsunade, teacher, remember that request. Lu Han was completely about to say his last words. Remember, I remember. Tsunade didn't know why Lu Han asked this, but responded loudly. Then, marry me, okay. Lu Han's tone was a little excited, staring at Tsunade's eyes. Okay, Tsunade cried in response. Lu Han smiled, then tilted his head and closed his eyes. Cold, Tsunade's voice was heart-wrenching. Call. Tsunade shouted too much, and the next moment, Jiraiya and Orochimaru appeared one after another. He's still alive, Orochimaru said calmly. He could feel the life force of the cold light still active. Actually Tsunade should have felt it too, but she was too restless. Squeezing Lu Han's shoulder, the power of chakra emanated from Tsunade's palm and entered Lu Han's body. Check again. Finally, for the fourth time, Tsunade used ninjutsu to find out what was wrong with Lu Han, and the mental energy was too consumed. Lu Han is not dead, he just fell asleep, to be precise, lethargic. Lu Han was trying to hold on, and he was in a bad mood, but he knew that he was safe. Tsunade agreed to his proposal again, and when he was relaxed, he fell asleep. Tsunade was still worried, and he did a comprehensive inspection on Lu Han, and found the problem again. Poison residue. Chapter 0512 back to Konoha. Lu Han was poisoned before, and the poison is cured, but the residue will not disappear inexplicably. Just like burning a corpse and leaving ashes, even if it is vaporized, it will leave dust. Normally, poison residues will have special effects. The nature of it, but it belongs to the body waste, which is harmless and will be excreted with the metabolism of the new city. Tsunade made a reasonable inference after detecting the poison residue in Lu Han's body. Hangguang was once poisoned, and then detoxified by itself. Although the poison has been detoxified, the damage of the poison is still there, causing Hangguang to be sluggish. This should be a super poison similar to hallucinogens. Very violent. Hangguang may not know his own situation, and it is reasonable to make a dying wish with a look of farewell. Tsunade's speculation. It can only be said that she is too kind. Kind women are always cheated by scumbags. Lu Han was very willing to be this scumbag. When Lu Han woke up again, it was the second half of the night. In the simple but well-furnished bedroom, the lights were dim. Tsunade was leaning on the soft slump. His hand was back to Lu Han's. Her head was slightly raised, her eyes were closed, because her breathing was uneven, so she could judge. She didn't fall asleep, just closed her eyes and rested. This is the base camp of the Konoha 2nd Main Battle Corps. Tsunade and the three of them rushed back overnight with the sleepy Lu Han. Afterwards, Jiraiya and Orochimaru, one reported the situation to the Legion commander, and the other wrote the intelligence details in person. Expedited return to Konoha. Tsunade was always by Lu Han's side. Lu Han was lying on his side on the soft slump. When he woke up, he saw Tsunade's profile as soon as he woke up. Immediately, he moved his fingers and scratched Tsunade's palm. Tsunade opened his eyes immediately, turned his head to look. Lu Han smiled at Tsunade. Yeah, are you awake? Do you have a headache? Tsunade was nervous for a while, touched Lu Han's forehead, and checked Lu Han's body again, but found nothing wrong. Oh, my head hurts. Lu Han seemed uncomfortable. Where does it hurt? Tsunade held Lu Han in his arms, and wanted to check again, but Lu Han's body softened, and he directly leaned on Tsunade's body, burying his head in the softness and arching. Tsunade understood immediately, and pinched Lu Han angrily and funny. Just waking up to do something bad, little liar. Lu Han was pinched by Tsunade and grinned at Kiba, but he didn't let Tsunade's intentions go. He raised his head and kissed Tsunade's chin. Don't make trouble, you have been poisoned before. Although you have been detoxified, your body is weak and needs to be nourished. There was a wooden box on the wooden table with a soft slump. While Tsunade was talking, he avoided Lu Han's harassment, opened the box, and took out some meals. The box was insulated and the meals were hot. Tsunade now completely treats Lu Han as a patient. There is no main food in the meal, except for 2 small dishes, there is only a large bowl of porridge. Eat. Tsunade shoved the big bowl into Lu Han's arms. Lu Han could only hold it, or he would spill it, but he was really hungry. Picking up the spoon, Lu Han took a few mouthfuls of porridge, then looked up at Tsunade and asked, "Have you eaten yet?" "Have eaten. You lied to me." Tsunade didn't speak. She really didn't eat. Lu Han couldn't sleep, she didn't want to eat, and she knew that she couldn't deceive Lu Han, and not many people in the entire ninja world could lie in front of Lu Han without being exposed. "Open your mouth." Lu Han dug out a spoonful of porridge and handed it to Tsunade's mouth. Tsunade's face was Yuhi's face. At her age, being fed by a boy many years younger than her, even the person closest to her was awkward. "There's more in the kitchen, I'll go." "Open your mouth, I won't eat if you don't eat it." Tsunade, who was about to get up, was threatened by Lu Han and sat back again, obediently opening his mouth. In this way, the two of you ate a large bowl of porridge one bite at a time, using the same spoon of course. After that, the two ate some small dishes. Tsunade collected everything and closed the box. Tsunade originally he planned to send the box out first, but Lu Han grabbed his hand. "Pull hard." Tsunade was caught off guard, rolled over and fell on the soft slump. Lu Han also rolled over, held Tsunade down, stared at Tsunade, his breath sprayed on Tsunade's face. Tsunade's face turned to Yuhi, his breathing was a little fast. He pushed Lu Han, but he didn't dare to push too hard. "You're still sick, don't mess around." "I'm fine, if you don't believe me, try it." Lu Han choked Tsunade's lips and pulled Tsunade's belt with one hand. Tsunade let out a murmur and then softened. Yue hid in the cloud, too embarrassed to look again. Tsunade, who had been nourished, left the room where Lu Han was temporarily housed in high spirits. Lu Han woke up, and his body was fine. No, it should be said that he was still strong. Tsunade was naturally happy, but she still understood. Unhappy heart not, with worry in the eyebrows. In the room, Lu Han just dressed casually, but his face was not very good looking. Two had a conversation before Tsunade went out. "Tsunade, where's Eli's photo?" Lu Han, "Of course he died. I can only report the specific situation to Lord Hokage." Tsunade, "Well, then I'll go out first and say you woke up this morning." Lu Han, "Okay, by the way, wait a minute, hey, you remember what I promised me?" Tsunade, "What?" Lu Han, "Are you pretending to be stupid? You can't escape." Tsunade, I didn't. I was emotional and didn't count." Lu Han, "Hey, don't you want to regret it?" Tsunade, No, I'm afraid, teacher he." Lu Han proposed to Tsunade, Tsunade agreed, and the matter was settled. Normally, no one can stop her, but the problem is, Tsunade's identity is special, and Lu Han's identity is also special. In fact, Lu Han is not afraid of any obstruction, but Tsunade can't. She cares about Sarutobi Hiruzen's opinion, but this is not a problem. The problem still lies with Lu Han. He is Captain Anbu. If he wants to marry a normal ninja, no problem, but he wants to marry Tsunade. Lu Han couldn't guess what Sarutobi Hiruzen was thinking. 3 days later, Han Guang, Tsunade, Jiraiya, and Orochimaru returned to Konoha. Chapter 0513_Crazy Laughing. The task of the 3 Tsunade is to help the second main army to decipher Sunagaku's poison. Tsunade is the team leader and is responsible for deciphering the poison. Jiraiya and Orochimaru cooperate with Tsunade. At this time, the Tsunade 3 returned to Konoha, and they needed to report to Hokage Sarutobi Hiruzen as soon as possible, as did Lu Han, and the task of deceiving Hanzo had been completed. 4 returned to Konoha. They went to the Hokage building immediately, but were told that Hokage and other high-level Konoha leaders were having a meeting, so Lu Han had to go back to the Anbu station first. Anbu Station, dim cave room. Lu Han sat in front of the stone wall, and with a wave of his hand, hundreds of falling objects filled the ground. He finally had a chance to count the gains from the battle with Eli Yi that day. In that battle, he first killed the 3 puppet bosses of the level 58 Abyss, Hell, and Lord, and also killed the level 23 Demon King boss and the level 60 White boss for the first time. Silver boss, in total, killed a total of 22 enemy targets, of which 20 were puppet bosses at level 50, a ninja boss at level 60, and a special boss at level 20. Great Harvest. Clearly click to kill Eli's photos first. There are 3 S-rank puppet skills, 4 A-rank puppet skills, 6 bottles of spiritual potions, 2 rare weapons, 3 large blue bottles of treasures, 3 large Yui bottles of treasures, and 58 ingots. Li Jiao dropped a total of more than 100 items. There are only so many items that are really valuable. Although the others are not considered garbage, they are really of little value to Lu Han. For example, the B-level puppet technique, some of which need to cooperate with puppets to perform. And some need to transform the body, only a very few can directly display it. There are 3 S-level puppet techniques, 2 of which rely on puppets, and the other requires body modification. Or 4 A-level puppet techniques, 2 need puppets, 1 needs to be transformed, and only 1 can be performed directly. It is Puppet Technique 100 Touch Exercises. Li Jiao once used it on Lu Han and resisted Lu Han's gusty wind. Torrential rain-like sword attack. The puppet technique scroll is different from the general ninjutsu scroll, and there will be special prompts. If you need to transform the body or need a corresponding puppet, it will be written directly. Lu Han didn't hesitate too much. 3 S-level puppet techniques and 3 A-level puppet techniques were recovered, and a total of 210 ingots were obtained. The 100-touch rehearsal scroll is used directly. All the 6 bottles of spiritual potions were used up, and the 2 rare weapons were all recovered to obtain 80 ingots, and all the treasure potions were put away. For other things, use those that can be used, and put away those that can't be used. Because some B-level puppets the value of technique is more than 10 ingots, which allows Lu Han to get another 20 ingots through recycling. In the end, Lu Han got a total of 368 ingots from Li Jiao. Also learned an extremely powerful puppet technique. It's not over yet. This is not all the gains from killing the first level 60 white silver boss, and those puppets. Lu Han thought, a little excited. Compared with the gains from killing Li Jiao, the gains from killing the puppets were even richer. Clear the harvest of killing 20 level 50 puppets, including 3 kills. There are only 2 kinds of drops from puppets, one is the psychic badge. The second is ingots. Psychic badges, 236. Ingot, 201. In comparison, Lu Han's desire for psychic badges now far exceeds that of ingots. Finally, Lu Han counted the harvest of the first killing of the 23-level Demon King boss. Psychic badges, 62. Ingot, 47. Demon King badges, 10 pieces. The Devil's badge, it's this thing, something similar to a diamond badge. Ha ha ha, Lu Han picked up a Devil's badge. The badge was half the size of a palm, diamond-shaped, without any decoration. It looked like a diamond-shaped metal piece. Elf, what can the Devil badge do? Lu Han asked in his heart. The Devil badge exchange item has been opened. Please enter the subversive space to check it yourself. Elf said. It's like this again. Lu Han pouted. Final full stats. In the battle with Li Jiao, Lu Han won a total of 616 ingots, 298 psychic badges, and 10 devil badges. So far, the total number of ingots on Lu Han's body has exceeded 800. Up to 830. 556 psychic badges. Ha, ha ha ha, ha 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 ha. Lu Han laughed convulsively. He has never been so rich before. What is the concept of more than 800 ingots? You must know that the exchange price of Horaitian S-art is only 650 ingots. Lu Han is looking forward to it. 4 more days. There are 4 more days before he can enter the subversive space, and he can't wait. Ha ha ha, cough. Calm down, calm down. Phew. Lu Han calmed down his emotions. He understood that more than 800 ingots could not make his strength increase by a large margin, because no matter how strong the skill was, it was still LV1 Mokuden wood style. Assuming that he can really get his Mokuden wood style, it will just give him another means. Senju Hashirama's Mokuden wood style must be LV6, so he is invincible in the world. Of course, he must have the body of a fairy. As a precondition, the gap between LV1 Mokuden wood style and LV6 Mokuden wood style should be the gap between creating a forest and creating a boundless forest. Lu Han is very clear that he is currently in a bottleneck period. The gap with those who are stronger is not due to some kind of technique. Compared with Sarutobi Hiruzen has more chakras than Lu Han, and his reaction is faster than Lu Han. He has richer combat experience than Lu Han, and has a fighting awareness of speed and strength. Lu Han is not as good as Sarutobi Hiruzen in all aspects, not a certain skill gap. There are two paths in front of Lu Han now, both of which can break the peace. Or, Lu Han acquires some kind of ability against the sky, such as Rinnegan. Well, this is a bit unrealistic. In fact, this way is to acquire some kind of powerful ability, but obviously requires a lot of ingots. The second path is to hone his various abilities and skills as a ninja in all aspects. This path Lu Han can take at any time, but it takes a lot of time. In front of the stone wall, Lu Han had put everything away and tilted his head to think. Dong dong. Captain, Lord Hokage let you pass. With the knock on the door, a cold voice sounded outside the door. Lu Han suddenly regained his spirits. Chapter 0514 Credits and Rewards. Hokage Building, Hokage Office. Sarutobi Hiruzen, wearing a fire character bamboo hat, sat behind the desk and looked at the amazingly long information scroll. This information scroll recorded the details of Lu Han's completion of the task of deceiving Hanzo. The scroll was naturally written by Lu Han. After Kakuzu separated, it took a few more days to get to the vicinity of the 2nd Legion's station. On the way, Lu Han wrote the scroll. Say what you should say, don't say what you shouldn't say. In fact, there is nothing that can't be said. Lu Han deceived Hanzo and made Hanzo delay the assassination of Daimyo for a month. He can basically tell Sarutobi Hiruzen what he did during the period. The chance of Daimyo and cold light. Lu Han wrote about Kakuzu in the scroll, and he naturally didn't need to hide this for Kakuzu. Kakuzu might assassinate the Daimyo within a month, and Sarutobi Hiruzen had to know that. Sarutobi Hiruzen is looking at the information. Lu Han stood at the desk and waited. A moment of silence. For a long time. Nice job. Sarutobi Hiruzen looked at the intelligence scroll, and smiled with satisfaction. If that's the case, then in order for Hanzo to appear, you must protect the daimyo in 20 days. This subordinate understands. Lu Han continued, but, Lord Hokage, do I have to learn a forbidden technique that can protect people first, and then protect the name? Lu Han started to rip off. At that time, he lied to Hanzo Hengguang to protect the name, saying that Sarutobi Hiruzen gave Hengguang a way of practicing the forbidden technique, which could be completed in about a month. At that time, Lu Han was preparing for the ripping off. You kid, it's on my head. Sarutobi Hiruzen looked bad. No, Lord Hokage, didn't I protect the big name? Lu Han said confidently. Humph. Sarutobi Hiruzen snorted coldly, obviously not believing Lu Han's nonsense, but shook his head and smiled helplessly. Okay. Forbidden technique, I'll talk about it later. I ask you, did you kill Eli Zhao? Yes, but it's not my work alone. Eli Zhao has 8 puppets, and the strongest 6 were killed by Tsunade. You are really humble, not greedy for merit, which is rare. That's that. Of course Lu Han didn't dare to be greedy for merit. He was afraid that Sarutobi Hiruzen would ask about it. After Eli took a photo, he had summoned the 18 Iron Man of Eli. No one else knew about this, nor could it be known by others, otherwise Lu Han would be a little difficult. Explained, why can he kill Eli Zhao, who is almost in full power? Shikatsumyaku, dead bone pulse, can't be exposed. This time, you have made another contribution. This is the commission for Hanzo's mission, 10 million taels, you can take it. Sarutobi Hiruzen spoke, took out a stack of money tickets from the drawer and threw it to Luhan. Luhan immediately take it well, don't be a fool to give the money, and it's what he deserves. As for the matter of you killing Elijao, by the way, you also helped Tsunade decipher Sunagakur's poison. When did you research this aspect? It was a long time ago, Lord Hokage. My idea for detoxifying poison came from Zhaohai detoxification. Zhaohai's own strength is low, so the methods of detoxification and poisoning tend to be pure drug preparation, and do not need medical ninjas. Ability to assist, it is easy to learn. Quote. Luhan had already thought about his words, and he didn't lie. The method of cracking the poison did come from Zhaohai, but this ability was obtained directly, but what he meant was that Sarutobi Hiruzen mistakenly thought he was have learned. There is no flaw in what Luhan said. Of Zhaohai detoxification, in the treasure house of Anbu's resident. It belongs to the information category and has no viewing restrictions. In fact, it is not difficult to understand what Zhaohai wrote, but his idea of fighting poison with poison is too scary, so Anbu's medical treatment the ninjas didn't take Zhaohai detoxification seriously, and even sneered, doubting Zhaohai's ability to detoxify and make poison. I didn't expect you to have this kind of talent. Sarutobi Hiruzen nodded, he didn't think much about it. Han Guang is a genius. He can learn everything quickly, and he is still a very courageous person. It is not surprising that he dares to use poison to fight poison to crack high-level poison. You killed Elijao and helped Tsunade detoxify the poison. This is not the task I gave you. So, for these 2 credits, what reward do you want? Sarutobi Hiruzen looked at Luhan and asked. Credit. Award. Rare. It seems that Sarutobi Hiruzen took the initiative to ask Luhan what reward he wanted. The reason is none other than that Luhan's status is too high now. Since Luhan joined Anbu, he has made a lot of merits along the way, but there are corresponding rewards, such as Anbu merits, such as promotions, such as Sarutobi Hiruzen gave Luhan the cultivation method of the Hiraishin technique, but today, Luhan already Captain Anbu, Sarutobi Hiruzen's #1 confidant, and his own strength is extremely powerful. This reward. Sarutobi Hiruzen